Coming to you from the TLD studios in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, taking you deep inside the lives of the legends and leaders of our sport. This week's guest is brought to you by Yamaha, the leaders in the power sports industry. Motocross bikes, street bikes, adventure bikes, side-by-sides, quads, boats, generators. Yamaha sets the standard. Yamaha revs your heart. Method Race Wheels, the strongest, lightest, fastest wheels in off-road. Method dominates the off-road market with wheels for your truck, sprinter, Jeep, or UTV. Go to methodracewheels.com/whiskey throttle for 20% off your order. Troy Lee Designs, built for the world's fastest racers. TLD blends elite level protection with industry-leading style and performance. Moto, bike, helmet paint, casual wear, whatever your passion, Troy Lee Designs is waiting for you on the next level. Nihilo Concepts, enhance your riding experience with superior products like the Start-Stop Conversion Kit, Fuel Pet Cocks, Frame Grip Tape, Lever Grip, Grip Donuts, Secondary On Switch, Billet Foot Pegs, Billet Throttle Housings, and so much more. Nihilo Concepts produces exceptional products, all of which are made right here in America. And by SKDA. SKDA is the ultimate destination for exceptional motocross graphics, customer service, and artistic excellence. Trust them to elevate your ride and showcase your individuality on the track, making every ride an exceptional experience. Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the Whiskey Throttle Show. I'm your host, David Pingree. We have got a fun guest today. This guy I've wanted on for a long time, but he lives on the other side of the country. It's tough to get him out here in California anymore. Thankfully, some poor lady in Southern California is dating him, and so it brings him out once in a while, and I'm stoked to have free riding legend, 10 times X Games gold medalist. Never mind those stupid silver and bronzes. 10 times a gold medal winner. Woo! Ronnie Renner, welcome to the show.
What up, dog?
I'm stoked to have you on, buddy.
Thanks for having me. This is rad. Appreciate it.
We start all our shows with the Method Race Wheels front end chatter. You can get 20% off going to methodracewheels.com/whiskey throttle. They'll send you a code, get some wheels from them. Good stuff. I just got to say congrats to you. You are finally an amateur national champion.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
I was stoked for you.
I thought that would never really happen, but I had to find a little gray area with the sportsman class and avoid Mike Brown to get it, but I got it.
Hey, Emig won 2 titles because he blew up. So sometimes you just take what you can get.
Oh, yeah. Tell you how you get them.
Everybody dodges Mike Brown. He's the Ricky Carmichael of vet racing.
Do you blame? I think there's pro racers that are like 16 years old that would dodge Mike Brown.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about it at all.
He's a savage, and he's still scary. Like, he's still just, he trains all day, every day. Yeah. And he'll kill you for that trophy.
I passed him at Dade City one night on the practice night. He was like messing with one of his riders he trains or something, and I did pass him. And I thought I was going to get, like, murdered. Like,
he came after you?
Not taken out, murdered. I just hear his bike shift to 7th gear and hit the rev limiter. Like, I'm like, oh, my God.
Why did I pass him? Why did I have to do that?
Never did that.
That was a terrible idea.
He pretty much ran me off the track, yeah.
Well, your history at Loretta's, in 2000, you got a 9th and 10th in 125A Pro Sport. Those were your best finishes, the 9th and 10th back then.
You didn't really have to do all this homework.
No, I did it. I just went in and I did it. But now...
I would have embellished that. I'd been like, yeah, I think I used to get like 5th and 6th at Loretta.
I was inside the top, inside the top 10 with a 9th.
I look at some of those lists and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to beat myself up too bad. Like, there were some pretty big names on there, and I was winging it, man. I've been winging it my whole life. So to go to Loretta's, I think being Floridian and the humidity, just being acclimated to it, always helped me survive a little better. But to say that I was on a training program or practicing a lot, no, I'd be lying.
Well, it's funny to me. It's not funny, but it's fun to watch. Like, guys who didn't get one, when they do win a title, it's like, it means a lot to them. They're like pumped, you know. And I'm not just talking about you. I see it in a lot of vet riders that go back. You know,
a lot of work goes into it. I mean, straight up, I worked harder.
How much did you spend? That's what's crazy, is how much it costs, because it's an area and a regional, and you got to get camping and all of your passes, and dude, it is expensive.
Yeah, I mean, here's where I got to thank my sponsor, Northern Tool. for kicking in and helping me get to Loretta's. I didn't spend a damn dime.
Is that right?
That's right. So,
God bless Northern Tool.
no, it's probably like a $5,000 at least if you go and camp and you go to the far regionals. I actually flew out and did the Pala regionals because my lady was here and I actually had a bike. So I was kind of coming out anyways. It worked out fairly well. So it's hard to quantify exactly what I had into it. You know, I didn't have to drive from Florida to California just for that.
Yeah.
But I'd say every bit of $5,000-$6,000 maybe went into it.
Okay, well, that's not bad.
But I train hard, man. I trained harder than I ever have. And my story goes a little farther back. It goes back to 2021. I was going to do the plus 40 sportsman class because it goes back and forth every couple of years. They change the verbiage of it and the rules. And AKA the class that Mike Brown's not in is what I was going to do. And I got the Rona the week of in 2021. And I was training my butt off, like, actually way more than I ever did when I raced pro. Like, I'm telling you, because I'm fortunate with my freestyle career. I got some sponsors, I got some backing, and that confidence, like, all adds up. And I'm like, all right, I got no excuses. If I go there and I'm out of shape, I need to never ride a bike again because I don't deserve it. So busted my butt, got the Rona a week of, literally watched on my phone in my camper, staying like, that was 2021. Everybody thought you're going to kill the whole family. So I stayed away from my kids and like watched it on my deathbed. And I was like, that doesn't look very exciting. Like vet racing, unfortunately, does not like get the fans and the announcers on
does
their
not
toes.
get the people going.
They're talking about like what kind of pizza they were eating while they're, I don't know what, but by the time the Rona wore off and got back on my bike, I was like, yep, got to go back next year. And then there comes the point of like being an example to my kids and being like, yeah, you don't give up on something. So, my X Game days, I realized are kind of over. No more step up at X Games. So that was my competitive thing to give me a little driving force. 22 comes around, start training my butt off. Plus 45 this time. I'm like, I'm going to get them while I'm fresh. The legal requirements that I kind of it's not a gray area. I'm just like right at the cut is you could never have got a national number. And I got 21st one time at Budds Creek. So talk about playing that right. You know what I mean? I'm glad I stopped and was drinking the Flaggers water bottle at Budds Creek that year. Lost the spot. So now I can go win Loretta's.
So it goes every 5, like 40, 45, 50, 55?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's a 55. I think it goes 50 to 60 now.
Okay.
Anyways, I was training my butt off again in 22. And I getting these wicked stomach cramps like the whole time. And I'm like, I'm getting old. I'm getting like irritable bowel syndrome or something. I don't know what's up with me. Yeah, like eating too many steaks. What's that called?
I don't know.
There's some fancy
extra manliness?
No, extra man. I was too manly for that class. No, it's like gout or something. Gout. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, something's going on where like I need to go get this checked out. I shouldn't be having these wicked stomach cramps. And I'm like, after Loretta's, I'm going to go do it. Well, like the week leading up, once again, here I am like on my deathbed, 102 fever, trying to load up in Florida, July, like to go to Loretta's. I'm like, this ain't happening. Go to the hospital. They're like, yeah, you're staying here. I had a thing called diverticulitis.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like
that's
this
painful,
large
dude.
intestine.
It's a pocket of your intestine that gets kind of enclosed off, so you have a little capsule.
Medical talks with Ron here. Let me go. It's
I mean, I see that in the field a lot.
Yeah.
Diverticulitis is very common.
Well, it's getting really, really, I don't want to say popular, but it's a thing now with younger and younger people. I don't know what it is, but it's basically the weakening of the side walls of your intestines. And what I learned was a lot of your water absorption goes through your large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've spent my whole life in Florida, Southern California, sweating like crazy, never drinking enough water, energy drinks all the time with road trips, like my guts are probably pretty rotten. So.
You ever had kidney stones?
No, thank God.
Lucky.
Yeah, and because I never wanted them, I saw Regis Harrington had them one time and I thought the guy was going to die in front of me. So like, I'm always going to drink a lot of water, and I thought I drank enough, but something went wrong with my stomach. And had to watch Loretta's from the hospital.
Again?
Yeah.
So there was a lot that went into this 23 effort.
Yeah. So my kids are like, you're not going to Loretta's, Dad? I'm like, it's the best time to go ever. Look, real life almost killed me. Like,
yeah.
they're saying, oh, it's dangerous and this and that. You don't need to do it. The universe is trying to tell you not to. I'm like, no, if anything, the universe is telling me to do it because real life things made me sick, not crashing my bike or anything like that. So got back on the horse, trained my butt off again, and this time made it stick.
That's rad.
And it was honestly, with no disrespect to the competition, like I think it was a good example of training so hard that I made it like easy, and getting the whole shot every time helps too.
Will you go back?
Yeah, for sure. Whenever
Yeah.
Mike Brown retires.
Yeah. I mean, like, did you have fun? Or was it like, gosh, that was a lot of work and it's muddy and it's...
Oh, I don't mind that, man. I love motocross. I mean, motocross is the core of my existence. Has been since I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of variables go into it to like be the best, you know what I mean? And then to do freestyle, be a show pony. I don't know. You start whatever it is, like mid 40s, I would say, maybe early 40s. I started getting like the ego just kind of goes away, where you're like, it's not really that important. It's not that big of a deal.
Perspective changes. Kids help with that, right?
And apparently, when you find a woman you really like, even though you want to impress that woman and like still be a badass in her eyes, like you're not like doing it trying to get girls' attention at events either.
Was that what drove you all those years?
Freestyle? Every freestyler in the world's lying if they said when they started freestyle that wasn't for the girls. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that I'm proud to admit. Like, I was 22, 23 years old, had a baby, relationship that was dodgy. Freestyle did not help that whatsoever. So, early 2000s, new sport, wild personalities, traveling, like carnies, like,
Well, we'll get into that. I want to hear more. I want to hear some more of those carny stories. We already heard an interesting story of your road trip with Kyle over here.
Oh, should we talk about the Garth Milan?
Garth Milan, you dirty boy. You dirty, dirty boy. That's all I will say.
My man. It involves him and Kyle Callion in a camper and my buddy Steve Hoggelstein. Things get weird in the desert, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
He's for sure calling me out of this episode.
I'm only kidding a little bit. We won't tell
it's
it.
only kind of a joke.
Details are,
Details are still sketchy. We're going to leave it there.
Legend says things got weird.
Hey, folks, get over to whiskeythrottlemedia.com and have a look at all the content we're creating there. Lots of fun stuff. We got new merch. There's a forum, all kinds of things for all sorts of people. Vintage racing, off-road racing, all of it. Let's get to our guest story. It's brought to you by Yamaha. And tell me about where you grew up. You're a Florida boy, like I said, but what part? Orlando area?
West coast of Florida, around Tampa, a little bit north of Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of small town, but not, 30,000 people, whatever.
North of Clearwater even? Oh, what is it called?
Newport Richey.
Oh.
Yep, about 45 minutes northwest of Tampa. Dade City's in the same county. Dade City Raceway, the famous.
Okay.
That's where I grew up. It's where.
And born what year? How old are you?
77. So I'm not 77 years old. I might look like it. Born in 77.
Your
46
liver,
years
maybe.
old. Yeah. Oof. Poor liver. Yeah.
So
good
you're
place to
almost
grow
my
up.
age, man. I'll be 49 in January.
Man.
We're old as shit.
Yeah. Why you doing that to yourself?
I try to stop.
I just pretend that I'm not like. Just try to rock it till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
Riding mountain bikes, trying to whip them still, and do things that can get you hurt. Figure if it kills me, all right, I had a good run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Better than getting old.
Roll into your coffin just a
I'm not
beat up
old.
mess.
I'm not old. You are.
I'm not old. You're old. What was it like back there then? It's. I always find it interesting, kind of like you can look back because you're still in the same area down there, or where you?
Pretty
where
much, man. There's something about gravity. It always brings you back. It either slams you on the ground or brings you back to the roots. Something just always told me when I was living out here. It's such a long story of my career, and grew up racing, 4 years old, Dade City boy. Had a little break between 9 and 16. The story could go on a long time, but got back into it. Got rapidly, pretty quick, started doing...
Well, you're speeding up on me, dude. You got to slow down.
I know.
Tell me about your area you grew up in, from back then to now.
So what era...
Has it changed a lot?
Mr. Pingree, what area would you like to know about?
Newport Richey. This is where you grew up,
what
right?
What era? My Pee-wee days?
Yeah. Like early on. What was it like as a kid there? And did you play other sports? Did you do other things? I know you got one sibling, right? Ricky.
Two, Ricky and Robbie. Yeah, we got it.
Robbie, okay.
And
you're the
Ricky,
oldest?
Robbie never made it pro pretty fast. I mean, we've gone mano a mano a couple times, but he's 32 and I'm 46, so he's supposed to be a lot faster than me.
Copy, okay.
And he actually just got a amputated right foot and got back on the horse for the first time at a fundraiser he put together a week ago, which was pretty badass.
What happened to his foot?
Had a couple big diggers at the Mini-O's, spanned over 10 years that pretty much left his right foot in a ton of pain and lots of, smashed bones that he came to the conclusion that it would be better off without it.
So it's just a nub? It's like a peg?
Yeah.
Peg leg down there?
Below the knee amputation. And this company called 50 Legs, got him out of the insurance system, and they, focus on athletes and got him dialed in with a really good prosthetic, and did a fundraiser at Tampa MX the other day. And all of a sudden I see him suiting up, gave him my bike, and I'm dead serious.
Is it his right or left?
Right. He gets out onto the track, and there's like a third-gear tabletop, turns in and launches the thing.
Oh, my
First
gosh.
time on a bike.
Does he have a handbrake, or what's he
No, I
doing?
rode my bike. Just winged it. Sent it.
Just pick it up and stomp the foot down on the brake, or what?
I mean, he's got good skills. You don't need to tap the brake in the air.
Jeez.
But pretty wild, yeah. And then Ricky, who everybody knows Ricky, we call him the fast one. He's, speaking of Brownie, I think Brownie put him in retirement in plus 25 one year at Loretta's. Last moto, Brownie wore him down, and Ricky hasn't really rode since until that ride day.
Really?
Which is pretty damn funny. I know we're getting sidetracked, but got to tell the story.
Yeah.
He's on my bike, so I can't be out there riding with him. Me and my dad, my kids were up in the tower watching, and dude, check him out. He's going for it. And I'm like, dude, he just freaking stuffed that guy. And I'm like, who the hell? He must know that guy, right? Nobody knew that Ricky went and geared up and borrowed Kyle Chisholm's brother's bike. And I'm like, the guy's riding style kind of looks familiar, but he stuffs Robbie back. And I'm like, oh, he has to know him, but he's going to get himself hurt out here, right? And then Ricky comes, I see it on his back. It's Ricky Renner. Pretty cool.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, we all ride and love it, and all because of my dad, growing up, to take you back to. So
go way back. Did you play other sports, you guys, or was it?
I tried. I mean, I had a window from 9 till 16 where I never raced. I was pretty good on Pee-wees. That was every weekend. Mom and dad divorced at 5, so my dad had me on the weekends. Every weekend we were off racing. Some stuff went down where he basically had to kidnap me to go to Loretta's in Ponca when P-dubs were still the thing when you're 8 years old.
Yeah.
And my mom wasn't too psyched on it, so she kind of got him in trouble when they got back, and I had to basically only go with my dad every other weekend.
Oh, really?
And that really sucked for racing. I was switching to a 60, and anybody that knows Papa Renner knows that he don't mess around, you know what I mean? So it was some rough days at the races at that age, and I just kind of, I don't know what I regret it now, but I do, but I don't. I mean, I say not to live with regrets because I wouldn't have made it here if things might have been different. So,
yeah.
For whatever reason, just for not having a good relationship with my dad for a couple of years, I missed racing from 9 till 15 or 16 years old.
You didn't really hang out with him much?
I basically quit going to go to my dad's. He kind of was hard on me at the races, and I just got it put in my head that I didn't have to put up with that, and I could live with my mom. And coincidentally, that's when Nintendo came out, and kids, I think that was the first thing taking generations back where kids started being sucked to that TV longer than cartoon hour.
Yeah.
And nobody really stopped me from it. So a couple of years later, Ricky was born with my stepmom and my dad. And I was like, oh, I got to be around that, and it didn't take long. Got back in the rhythm with my dad and had to get my grades up because something about split families as well. It doesn't usually help the grades with kids. And I had to get no C's on my report card before I could start racing again. And it wasn't until I was the end of being 15 years old where I tightened it up. And I got on the horse then. But during that time, I played baseball, played football, realized that I was going to be scrawny and probably not that good at those sports. Tried them all, liked them all. That's what, school makes you think that you should be doing. But once I got into high school, I was back to racing motorcycles. I knew what I was doing every weekend. It wasn't partying with the jocks. It was heading to the races.
So once you got to that point in high school, you got real serious with it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you just get a little more mature. I had a KDX 80. My stepdad, man, I feel so bad telling the story because it was really cool of him. I had my grades up when I was back and forth to my mom's, probably 13 years old, and my stepdad was so psyched. Yeah, I brought you a bike home. You got to remember, even though I wasn't racing, I still watched every motocross, every supercross. It's in my soul, and really wanted it. Just for some reason, I just wouldn't get the grades to make it happen. Anyways, my stepdad, I was doing good enough there where I'm not trying to paint a picture like I was just delinquent. I just was getting like a C on my report card
Yeah.
or something. My parents were strict about it, and good for them. Stepdad comes home. He's like, I got him a bike. Come outside. And it's a KDX80.
Oh no.
And I was just like, thanks. I know it sounds really ungrateful, but like if people are moto heads and like, I was into it. I mean, like I knew what I wanted to do and everything.
So what did you do? Did you say anything about it?
I
Like,
had like a Biaffi helmet that you got off of Dennis Kirk catalog or something back then, and the whatever, probably blue jeans or something. And I'm like shoveling dirt, jumps in the sand, blew the shock out in 1 week on it. Yeah, just did what I could with it. I knew a couple kids in my neighborhood that raced and would go to Dade City, and they never believed that I was like national number 2 on Pee Wees. Like I used to battle or be really close to Robbie Raynard, like I had a lot of potential with it. I think it was 86. Had a pretty good run at Ponca, I think maybe second or something, and then crashed my brains. I thought I was going to win Loretta's for sure, but we never rode a rough track like that. Pee Wees always got kind of catered to in the sandy places in Florida, so we got to Loretta's and it was like
ruts and bumps.
tomahawk. Yeah. So yeah, man. The neighbors, they would be like, "Oh, you can't ride." And they come over to my house and I got a KDX80 with my visor probably down on a Biaffi helmet and wearing a hoodie or something and riding like a squid, I'm sure. I'm like, "No, dude, I'm telling you, I used to be pretty good." And funny enough, like once I finally got a good bike a couple of years later, it took me like a week to start smoking those kids.
Yeah.
So
You rode the KDX for a while.
yeah, it was just like I blew the shock out so quick I really didn't like riding it. Like you'd think you'll ride anything, but when a shock's pogo sticking you, like I wasn't a prima donna by any means, but I'm like, you kind of know when you're gonna die on a bike. That becomes not very fun. So I probably rode the piss out of it, but not enough. I wasn't like, hey, take me to Dade City on this thing. I was like, keep me where nobody sees me.
Yeah. There's a field way out here where no one will see me.
Yeah, but thanks to my stepdad,
That's pretty cool of him though I mean, he didn't know what he was getting you or whatever, but
right.
the intention was really cool.
At like 16, he got me my first truck, which was like a $500 Chevy Love. But you just make me think it's something that doesn't get talked about a lot is the 80s, man. How awesome they were, and I think it's the greatest time ever to have been alive.
Yeah,
I
agree. I think the 80s and 90s, before the internet and phones really changed things. We were kind of the last. Our generation was probably the last.
Pagers were tight.
We sound like a couple of really old dudes yelling at the clouds right now, but
fine. I tell my kids it all the time. They probably don't like to hear it, but I'll tell you the one thing that with instant gratification and all the things kids are exposed to now, the radio. Back when you had to save a song and you wanted to listen to your song, if you didn't have the money to buy it, or sometimes the song wasn't even out yet at the Kmart or wherever you had to go, like how did you get to save that song? Do you remember?
I had a little recorder on my boombox with a cassette tape.
Blank tapes.
You could just catch it.
You had to wait for the DJ who would screw with you, and he'd be like, "All right, coming up next, Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice," and it's like ding ding ding, and you're like, "Yes," and then it's like, after the commercials, and you have to like rewind it and then cover it back up. There was a lot of effort just for a simple thing like listening or saving your favorite songs so you could hear it over and over again.
Yeah.
And what do kids do now? Hey Google, play Ice Ice Baby, or let me see your YouTube, and
that's actually an improvement. I'm not gonna lie. I like this. I like the technology better.
I'm capitalizing on it, but all I'm saying is it's making kids get whatever they want, so kids are getting bored.
Yeah.
Like you can be entertained so easily. We get home from school, cartoons were on from about 2:30 or 3, whatever it was, till 4, and then like Maury Povich or
the evening programming came on. You're like, man,
old people.
I'm gonna go outside and play.
Like, heading out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink water from the freaking stinky garden hose. It tastes like plastic.
It smells like sulfur.
Yeah, didn't complain.
That was the thing that I think our kids miss. It was, I don't know, and I grew up in Montana, so a little looser up there
you're
too.
About 20 years behind then, so you're really.
I was like growing up in the 50s.
2000 was like 1980.
Yeah, but I would just take off on my bike
Montana.
and be gone.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, man. I'm always telling my kids, go outside, go do something, go.
Yeah.
And they actually do all right, but I just see a lot of these kids that are just on their phones or playing video games or watching TV all
It's
day.
not doing them any favors.
No.
I mean, I got 4 kids now, man. I've raised them through a couple of different generations. You know, my older boys were, you know, Nate was born in the very end of '99, so he wasn't exposed to the tablet in hand at dinner like I see every kid have now, like constantly entertained. And the kids actually had to engage with adults and talk, and there's something profound about all of it, if you ask me.
And even, you know, like with my kids, we're getting way off on a tangent here, but like they don't call their friends anymore.
Right.
They don't even text them. They message them on Snapchat. And I'm like, why don't you just call them? You know, no one does that anymore. You know, I'm like, well, that's not good. You're not learning how to talk to people or engage. And obviously face to face is best, but
Traveling a lot still. I see it, the decline of this stuff in society. Like, you can't hold a conversation with anybody. You used to talk to people on the airplane. And every once in a while you get somebody that'll be annoying or talk your leg off or got stank breath or something. But for the most part, it made everything a little more of an experience. And getting in, putting on your headphones, burying your face in a book, you actually had some, I don't want to say camaraderie, but community.
It made you feel like society was a little more tighter knit.
Yeah.
Where now everybody's just isolated, and you only
might
interact
offend
with
somebody. You might start up a topic that's polarized and like, you better just shut your mouth.
Yeah. And there's truth to that too.
Not to get, it's sad to me, but at the same time, we're parents, you know, we got to rise above it and try to raise my kids different. And my younger ones are, my daughter's gonna be 14, which is scary as hell. Like, daughters are gnarly, but she doesn't have a cell phone from me yet. Not on my side of the coin. And my 11-year-old, he wants an iPhone, but I don't got him one. I'm not getting him one because, like, I'm trying to find a flip phone. You know, they still make those, or
my kids have their phones taken away right now from getting in trouble. We told them, I think we're just going to get you flip phones. Yeah. You can still call.
That's the only reason I want my kids to have them. That is a good thing about them. Is like they can communicate and like let you know where they're at. And you can track them. Do
you remember when you had to text though? Like you had to hit like 2 or 3 buttons to get to the letters on each number.
Oh, yeah.
Texting like, hey man, what's going on? Took like 5 minutes.
Made you appreciate it. No more psychobabble or straight to the point, man. Like. Yeah,
I love
People
it.
probably liked it when I had one of those because you've already seen some of my texting skills. I'll add like an extra word in there. You call
I know.
me
I
out
keep
for
jamming
it.
you up on all your text messages.
Your school teacher and your English teacher in your spare time or what?
My parents made me get good grades too. Okay. So English class was my favorite.
Well, I went to English class in Florida.
So, being from Florida, have you wrestled an alligator, or eaten an alligator, or eaten an alligator that you wrestled?
Might be pushing it with that one. I don't think I ate my own wrestle.
You've tried gator though, for sure.
Oh, I've ate gator. Not too bad. Well, it tastes like chicken. You fry anything, it's not too bad. Usually, have you seen the things at the fair that they fry? Gator is the least of your worries.
Yeah, it is the least of your worries.
I've held them before. Kind of got on top of them, held them down. I wouldn't say I wrestled it, but it was, professional guy there with his little lasso thing. I don't think I was gonna die.
Like Joe Dirt.
Not
a
quite
bit
there.
of a crocodile.
Not quite at that level, but yeah, I go jet skiing in rivers like all the time. If anybody watches my social media, like that's my favorite thing. If I post something, I'm like, I know people are gonna be like, dude, ain't there gators? Like, yeah, I don't know. We got protocol. Like if we go jet skiing in a place where there's gators, like if somebody goes down, you just kind of rip back around them and circle around. I can't imagine a gator being like swimming right over where a jet ski's ripping around. So
yeah, I suppose you're right.
Try not to do your fancy moves over by the swampy shit.
Yeah. Does Florida deserve the beating that it gets?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Don't move there. It sucks. Nobody. AKA, it's getting overpopulated. There are places in Florida that, just like Southern California, that deserve the trash talk for sure. It's getting overpopulated quick. I want to keep this fun and lighthearted, not be a pessimist. You know what I mean? Like, I've noticed such a huge difference in the last 5 years since I moved there. When I was, I lived in Murrieta here in California, and when I was trying to sell my house here and bought the place there, and I was going back and forth a lot, it was so peaceful when I got there. I mean, I'd land in Orlando Airport at 7 a.m, drive right basically through downtown and not get any traffic. And like, it was just bliss all the way to my house, hour and a half drive. And as soon as I'd land in LA or wherever my cheap flat I'd wrangle up was, back through the garbage and, you know, stuck on the 91, whatever it was, typical story. And it'd be so relieving. I live on 2-lane roads. But whatever's happened with the influx of freedom and like since post-COVID and the amount of people, I think it's 1,500 people a day move to Florida or something. And who knows how many illegally migrate. It's a whole other story. But
yeah, we got those numbers beat. Just people
You might have
cruising
to-
across the border.
people are moving out of here, but they're also hopping the border faster.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's sorry if anybody's offended, but that's what's happening. It's really started sucking. Like I'm getting stuck in all these traffic pockets. My trip, you know, just that was 5 years ago. That was an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 25 minutes tops to the airport's now like almost 2
Is that right?
at times. You know, like it's getting really unpredictable.
It's getting kind of like here where you got to time your trips. Like, oh no, traffic's bad then. I have to leave at this time. I'll take this flight.
Yeah, it used to be like the commute from Orange County to here. Like if you got on the road before 2 o'clock, you were good. Now it's like you got to do 1:30.
Yeah.
And that might not happen. So yeah, it's population, man. If it's the place to be, I can't blame people for moving there. The Florida weather's pretty good except for the hurricanes, and you know, you got fires out here. Like there's no utopia. I've learned that. Some
there
places are. My kid lives in Arkansas. My oldest son Nate's the trail builder in Arkansas, and he's calling me freaking out that there's tornado warnings all the time. That's the scariest element to me, besides maybe a fire popping up in your backyard. But like tornadoes are nasty, man. That thing will ruin
Super
your night.
unpredictable, right? Like at least for hurricanes, you guys, you have warning they're coming. You know if you live in an area that gets hammered and you can prep for it.
Fire, you can evacuate most likely.
Yeah.
Or
Tornadoes
there's
just...
some good firefighters around here. I don't know.
No, everybody sucks. They're all terrible. So when you were a kid racing, did you want to be pro? Like you were... The early days, Pee-wee days, you were already thinking like, this is what I want to do. I love it.
Totally. Like, say 5, 6 years old, going to the Gatorback National and whatever. I was all about Bob Hanna. I mean,
you were a
he's
Hanna
my-
guy.
He's my all-time favorite, and I'm sure it's got something to do with me being a smartass and you know having a good time, but also knowing how to be serious when I have to be. You know, he was the master of it.
Dude, nobody better. When we had him on the show, I had forgot just how sharp he is.
Yeah.
And like when he turns it on, he is funny, and he's not everyone's cup of tea for sure, but
I mean, it was a different world back then, of course. Like box vans, like the factory guys weren't in a semi. They were a lot more touchable, you know, and like Gatorback, I remember if the front field was filled, like that was a huge turnout. You know, there may be 10,000 people there to watch the National, or 5. I don't even know the numbers, but like the pits weren't that big. It was just box vans, and like you'd see Bob Hanna walking through to go check out the track. You know, like he'd chase me around. Like I'm sure he didn't remember me. I thought for sure though Bob Hanna remembered me everywhere I went because I'd see him at Daytona or see him there, and that kind of happened even with Emig later on. Like I remember when I got back into racing, I was probably 15, 16, and Emig was, I guess that was around the time he was 125 champ. Was it like
94, 3, 4?
93 maybe? And that's the year that I got back into racing. I had to have that YZ.
Yeah.
Good testament to like how riders can put people on that bike. Kind of cool.
Was it his personality? Was it his actual like results, or what was it about him?
Hard to tell back then. Obviously, he was winning a lot on 125s, and I knew maybe in retrospect I was kind of a Yamaha guy back then. You know, but being Bob Hanna, that was his main brand forever, and I think my dad was a Yamaha guy, so that probably helped.
I always think
was one of my favorites, like, because he was mopping the floor with people in Supercross.
Yeah.
I think it was 1990, and that's when I was still living at my mom's and like not back into it yet.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this track, Oklahoma City Supercross. You weren't racing.
No, but I remember the one you're talking
like a
about.
triple step up and all this stuff, and that like actually made me think, all right, well, if I'm not gonna be a racer, I want to be a track builder, because that something about that track just fascinated me. I had that recorded on VHS, and
Was that? It might have been a John Savitsky track, because he would build these crazy, super creative ones.
right.
Anyway, is that where Denny like cased a jump and then just face planted, broke his wrist?
I don't think it was that one. I feel like he won that year. It might have been the next year, but for some reason, it was around 92, 93, all that time frame, and I was graduating. I graduated high school in 95, And I went to, remember Bill West and Jerry West,
Oh, yeah.
were like the guys, Pace Entertainment, and then Clear Channel bought them, however it all breaks down. I went to Jerry West and like, hey, if I'm not, I think I'm going to have, I mean, I kind of got to the point where I think I'm going to have to like find an occupation. I wasn't that fast at racing as much, like from 16 when I started again till 18. I was like, man, I don't know if I got what it takes, so I want to be a track builder for you. And it was the freaking coolest thing ever. Jerry was like, Renner, I seen you race. He goes, get your ass out of my office and keep racing. He goes, you got what it takes. Keep
Really?
going. Yeah, he's like, you don't make it, then you come back and talk to me. And I was like, kind of left there and was like, wow, that was pretty damn pivotal confidence builder. I don't know, like, I've had other people, you know, there's people around you that say, oh yeah, you're good, this and that, you win some local stuff, but yeah, that all ties into to go on that tangent about track building. So then not long after that, Supercross, motocross thing didn't work out. Freestyle came along and that actually worked. So I never had to build tracks.
Did you go to the 1990 Miami Supercross?
No.
Okay.
No.
Isn't that the year? That was the year Damon crashed like a bunch of times and still came back and won.
Yeah, probably. Miami is not a part of Florida.
89? Was it 89 or 90?
Miami is its
not
own country.
Oh, okay. Cuba North or Cuba Northwest?
North Cuba. Yeah, I didn't get to go to all of them in that time span of like with mom and dad, you know, living with my mom, but
Yeah.
followed it on TV the best I could. You know, it wasn't as easy. You didn't have a Peacock app back then. You know,
No.
you had to kind of nail it down on when it was coming on Sports Center or
Moto World. I remember catching those. It's a 30-minute show. It would wrap up the last, you know.
total bummer, man, about Art Ekman too.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
That was a sad one to hear.
That's still for me like the voice of Supercross.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah. Him and Larry
Who
Myers.
else? Who else was going to call me David Pingram? He called me Pingram for like 3 years.
Look,
Godspeed, Art. I miss it.
that's good. You don't have a chip on your shoulder about it.
No.
Maybe a little bitter.
No,
We'll
not
talk
at
about it
all.
off the air, dude.
Not at all. It was, I laughed and he would joke about it. I don't know why I screwed that up. Like Bailey would jump in. Yeah, Pingree, you know, whatever. And he like, and Pingram. Takes, you know.
Hey, at least your name made it to the broadcast.
Yeah. I'm like Pingram. I like that guy.
I just got, we got some lappers in the way.
Out of the way, 3-digit guy. So who are the guys you grew up kind of racing with?
Oh, man. It's kind of weird. I'm going to name drop people like Robbie Rayner, but he probably didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
I just know that our names are really close, so I'd always get confused with it, and it still happens to this day. People say, oh, yeah, I remember I was on the flight with your dad. And it was
When you
actually
beat
big.
Carmichael at Unadilla, that was great.
Oh, yeah. And then I get with Robbie Madison, and I don't know with the name Robbie and Ronnie, and then I got my brothers Ricky and Robbie. All that stuff's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, nobody like it stands out was like really synonymous that actually made it, you know. And then I went the freestyle route. We had Jarrett Tipping was a really big name in Florida that we would battle a lot and travel around a lot on Pee-wee bikes. And then I got back into it, like I said, when I was like 15, 16 years old. Tom Parsons, who's now killing it with freestyle, was a local kid that I'd see every now and again. And when I moved out here, he was still sticking around Florida.
Okay.
I think he did a couple supercrosses and motocross races, but you know, my track was Dade City. You know, Carmichael was a couple years behind me. I literally used to beat up on Carmichael when he rode his 3-wheeler, and we'd make fun of the little redheaded kid. And as much as he got the last laugh, a couple years later, he got on a P-dub and was like a rocket ship. I think I dodged the bullet though. I think I was past the P-dub when he got onto them, so he never really officially whipped me on them.
You went from dodging him to then dodging Mike Brown?
Yeah, right. There's always somebody that's just got your number, you know what I mean? Or you're like, they're going to be there. And my dad would always make sure to tell me, whoever it was going to be. Like,
Yeah.
Jason Thomas used to run with James Joyner, who's passed since, but we were big rivals in the 125C class, like 94, 95, and I'd usually handle him everywhere except for this one track in Ocala, and you know, the whole time I just have to hear my dad be like, "Yep, Joyner's gonna be there, so you're done." You know, like so I was already beat before I got there. And then
Dad wasn't the real motivational
he
speaker. huh?
thought he was. He ended up getting me at Loretta's. I broke my arm. I had to ride I rode with a bowling cast in 1994 because I had a hairline fracture in one of my arm bones, and I wasn't going to miss it. And just couldn't hold on in the rough stuff and would hole shot and then fade back. That's where I earned the nickname Darth Fader. Yeah, real proud.
That's a great one.
Great starter.
Especially when your dad gives it to you.
Great starter. Only one way to go, unfortunately. It's either stay there or go.
So you know, as you got into like pro racing, like kind of made that transition to pro racing, you did some nationals right off the bat, huh? 98 looks like you did the 125 class.
97 was my first year with a pro license. I didn't set the world on fire at all. I think Greg Schnell passed me on the last lap at Gatorback, so I got booted from the LCQ, didn't make the main. That was probably my best shot at it. A couple Supercrosses, crash and burn, never might have made the night show, but never made a main at Supercross. 98, a little more success as far as like consistently making. You had the day program, make the night show. 98, I made the national on a 125 at Budds Creek. I was on the back of the pack, so I got a really cool cover shot as they funneled down the hill, like wearing my stiffy gear.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Proud moment. I think I got like 36th or something. I don't remember the
33rd.
30. Oh, really? Thanks.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you did in 99. You did Budds Creek, Red Bud, and Steel City, and went 26, 36, 37.
Okay. Damn.
26.
I don't like your homework skills. Those numbers are big numbers. But those aren't national points. those are positions.
If anyone poo-poos that, I say, well, how have you done? Have you gotten a 26th?
Exactly.
That's still not easy work.
Let me reiterate here. The Budds Creek 99 was actually a 21st one moto.
Huh?
And then I did worse the next moto. So complete mutter. Pulled the whole shot. Pretty awesome story. Sitting there on the line just before they had concrete gates. It was up on top of the hill though, different start than that crazy left-hander. There was a right-hander that dropped down. And I'm on the outside and I'm dead serious. Like, bad gate pick. I'm out there. I just kind of was like, I just want to come off the gate, not get the shit roosted out of me so I can survive the moto. So I kind of sat back on the seat and just went,
full shot.
It hooked up like a bat out of hell off the concrete. And I had about 2 bike links. I guess I'm going for it. Freaking like cut over on, I think it was Tortelli or somebody. Like closed off the hole. Had the inside by the time I got to the first turn.
Were you riding a 250?
Yeah.
Okay.
250 and I remember it's like me and Wyndham in the first turn or something like that in a Cycle News cover.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I ended up fading back, getting stuck in a rut, and I got 21st. So.
Darth Vader showed up again?
Oh, for sure he was showing up on that one. Darth Vader had no shot in hell. Everybody could have swamped their bike, and I still would have gotten 21st. Yeah.
So then 2000, you went to Loretta's again.
Yeah, totally.
And what happened there? That was kind of the last of motocross results that I could find of you.
Yeah, there's spotty. Earlier in 2000, I did a ultra cross race at Tampa Ice Palace.
Okay.
And I learned about the arena cross, ultra cross people. They kind of stick together. And if you come in there and you're trying to go for it and you're cleaning people out and taking people out, they had some special moves of their own. Mm-hmm. And I ended up I called it, I hockey checked myself basically. I went for it in the whoops off the start and they just closed me right off where I went right into the hockey wall at the Ice Palace. I sprained my ankle really bad where my whole leg turned black. Rode Daytona, and that's when you could ride both classes to try to make a couple extra bucks. Totally out of shape. 130 pounds soaking wet, and I'm riding a 250 two-stroke in Supercross.
That's back when it was daytime too and hot.
Well, I'm thinking of like Daytona. I don't think you could ride both classes. I think that was the only place you might not have been allowed to. But that was one of my first ones back.
Okay.
You might have actually, you may have been allowed to. I don't know, but the hot, no big deal. Being a Florida guy,
yeah, I guess
I really honestly would never be like, oh, it was a hot day. One time at Budds Creek, I do remember being a little toasty and borrowing water from the flagger. That was like my signature move. I'd stop in the race and find the flagger with some water.
Hey, bud, I'm thirsty. What do you got?
It was too shameful to go in the mechanics area. So. What was I going to say, though?
So how did that year go? And like, was there
God, I'm bringing back some memories here.
Did you go, all right, I'm done racing? Or, I mean, because the next year you made your transition into kind of free riding freestyle.
So Kenny Yoho was Randy Yoho's son, who owns Dade City. He's legend in Florida motocross, most successful track going. He's been there through, he'll take the credit for Carmichael, Stewart, myself, everybody being good. But
that name's big in Florida.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, Randy's a solid dude and runs a tight program in his track. One time I picked up James Stewart off his bike, his PW50, crying there. That's a highlight of my memory of. Feel like I have something to do with James's success. Might have saved him from getting ran over. I don't know. Maybe saved him from Big James.
Yeah.
But around 2000, me and his son Kenny, Fonseca won the championship. I'll take it back a year. Fonseca won the '99 championship on the Yamaha Troy bike, and people in Costa Rica wanted to throw a celebration for him. So they hit up somehow Kenny Yoho, Rudy Waller, some local guys I rode with, and said, hey, we're doing the celebration. You guys can do freestyle. And, I'd have to go back 5 years before that when I started getting fascinated with the jumping anyways, when Krusty Demons came out. And
okay.
Brian Manley.
So it goes back that far.
Brian Manley gave me the first copy in Florida of Krusty Demons of Dirt. And, that's what I really wanted deep down. I just didn't really know how to think that it was possible being in Florida. You just raced. That's how you made money. You raced. So, anyways, Kenny ended up calling me and hey, Renner, you can do some tricks. I've seen you at Reddick, one of the tracks, doing knack-knacks on the, I'd be winning the C class or something and trying knack-knacks over big tabletops. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I can kind of do little whips and cool. Come to Costa Rica with us. I got you a free ticket to go to Costa Rica if you want to do this jump show. Sweet. First trip ever is to Costa Rica with a bunch of guys that were flesh wound,
was that an eye opener?
SMP guys. Oh my god! Yeah.
Were they wearing crushed velvet suits?
No, they weren't that bad, but they definitely knew how to get around downtown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whole new experience. All right, felt like a rock star, and I had little glimpses of being at after parties after Supercross and seeing McGrath and seeing Emig and those guys how they used to celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
did that blow you away? No. So I was very clean cut, straight laced. I didn't drink alcohol until I was 23.
Yeah, same. I never had a sip of it till 22. So. Yeah.
So I saw these same after parties you're talking about. I may have crossed paths with you there, and I was just like, really? Yeah. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I was a little horn dog though, so I liked the thought of going out and chicks being into you because they sure weren't into me in high school. You're doing what this weekend? We're all going to the freaking after high school, whatever they were called, keg parties or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to race my dirt bike. Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously make you feel like you're a freaking loser.
Yeah, well.
I threw my cap and gown and literally didn't even catch it. Jogged to the truck and had to go to a Loretta's regional.
Oh, I was gone before my cap even hit the ground. I was like,
yes, I'm out of here.
Peace out.
So, the vibe. I go to Costa Rica, have a hell of an experience. A couple months later, Kenny Yoho calls me again, and he's like, Renner, man, get over here. We got a ramp. Built one of those freestyle ramps. Come jump it. I can turn a story into about anything, so be ready for it. How much time do we have?
We got all the time you want.
I think it's pretty. Maybe you just had to have been there. I don't know, but anybody that knows freestyle knows at this point a 75-foot gap, you jump in second gear. That's for worldwide knowledge. If you're into it, somebody will tell you. You can't overjump it in second, especially with 450s. But a 252 stroke, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Hey, come over here. I got the setup, and it's probably 70 feet, and it was a 10-foot tall ramp. Now they're about 8.
Okay.
We call this thing Red Rider now. It's a big old sucker. He's got it set up in this field. Little ice cream cone. We used to call them landers. We didn't know to make them really big or anything. It was just whatever he could round up. I pull in. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I've been jumping it all day, man. Third gear.
Oh, no. No.
He's like, yeah, it's third gear. Pretty easy. But I don't know what it is about third gear, but there's no easy in third gear. You're automatically going about 90. So
if you're in the meat of the power at all, you're going way too fast.
And nowadays, if I'm telling people how to ride freestyle, shorter you turn and you know your speed, you're probably better at timing the jump. If you start 2 miles down the road, you're just losing the feel for it. So I go back to where he started and click third, and I'm like, here's the landing. I'm just like, roll. See you
Just
later.
watched it go by
Just
under you.
landed, somehow kept it on the tracks, didn't die. Being scrawny probably had its perks for not blowing out my wheels or something, and just nearly annihilated myself though. Like, all right, I think I'm gonna go down to second gear. You know, we rode that a little bit. All of a sudden, we're freestylers. We're talking to his dad to set up a freestyle show at Dade City. Him, Rudy Waller, my buddy Travis Willis, they all had like cans, and I think Kenny was maybe even working on seat grabs at that time.
Oh, wow.
They had done stuff with Krusty
This was
Demons.
2000? What year was it?
2000.
Okay.
They had done stuff with Krusty Demons, SMP, like the videos. So they were into it already and like practiced the tricks to whatever level you needed to. There was never any opportunities just besides showing off. Or if those guys came in to film videos. And we line up the show, and I like start trying knack-knacks, all these things, and I don't know what it is about the ramp, man. It was just intimidating. Still, you probably have gone to places like ramps are intimidating. Like I've had many pros be like, dude, I'm nervous about that thing.
Well, for me, I love the ramp itself. Like we used to, when I first hit them, there was a guy that would take a ramp up to Beaumont.
Yeah.
And so you just put it up to a hill, and then it's like, to me, it's great. There's no penalty for, even if you came way short, you'd be okay.
Do it with an ice cream cone lander.
No, terrible. The landing, it makes it or breaks it, right?
Yeah,
like
'cause you get all the traction. It's just not a natural moto thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we get the sketchiest setup even at it was better at the track. At least we could make a bigger landing.
Yeah.
And these guys are all so much better than me. And it just, being a racer or whatever, it didn't sit well.
Mm.
These guys that were the party guys being better than me, you know, like, but I had to like figure out how to get my attention. So I wore like a bedazzled jersey.
Oh, jeez.
And like put an afro on my helmet or something like that. And like came out, like when they did the rider intros, I had like the first night I jumped with a leisure suit on. And like I made these tricks called like a disco can or something, and I invented a trick called the nose pick. Like I figured how to like cross my bars and put my foot over and touch the. I didn't know how to do a candy bar, like was one of the big ones back then. That guys on Terra Firma would do. So it was just kind of wild.
Coming up with whatever crap you could.
Wild times just to like stand out and get attention. Like I guess I had that back then, and we'd get a like monster truck show a couple weeks later. Before you know it, I'm making $500 instead of like winning the money class and almost getting annihilated by whoever else was fast locally. I could go get paid to show off, and we're having a good time. So that's when Loretta's came up that year. I was already qualified, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go, and wasn't really practicing, wasn't riding. I think I might. What did it say? What place I got?
I didn't see a result, but
I think I top 10'd it, but that was pretty much the end of it. Yeah,
9th and 10th.
That was the end of it. Yeah, I might have did a national or something that year too, but that was pretty much it. We started getting all kinds of freestyle shows. Went to the Blue Torch tour. Kind of part of how my first relationship with my first son deteriorated. She was not pumped that I started doing freestyle with these guys.
This is your first wife.
I wasn't married, no.
Oh, okay.
But we had my little dude, and I was a racer, and she knew that I was making money like that. I was working for my dad on the side, like fixing light bulbs and stuff, and I had a regular job, you know. And freestyle came about, and I'm like, dude, I could actually do this, you know. And like we're getting all these shows, and she got mad, and Jason Baker, who owns Dream Tracks now and does the Imagination thing with Berriman and all that, like to get his name out there. He's done tons more than that. Big name in the track building industry. One of my best friends. He ended up having an extra ticket to Vegas for the U.S. Open in the fall of 2020 or 2000. Sorry.
Okay.
He's like, hey, you want to come with me? I'm like, sure, dude. They're having a freestyle show there. I could meet like whoever's putting it on, and maybe I don't know, turning into this entrepreneur. I'm gonna start putting myself out there. I thought I could do this, and in the meantime, Blue Torch had a series. Remember that, the Ride and Slide?
I'm trying to. Blue Torch rings a bell. I'm just trying
Blue Torch
to place
TV.
it. Yeah.
They had a series called the Ride and Slide. They did one at like Irvine Lake, Lake Elsinore. They mixed wakeboarding with freestyle moto.
I do remember it.
They made some pretty wicked courses.
Okay.
And it was there's a wakeboard park right next to Bithlo, Orlando Motocross, and Sink Mars, like the whole freestyle crew at that time, Deegan, they all stopped by that track like on a Wednesday night when we would practice, and they had just built this track up with some big jumps. And me, Rudy, and Kenny were out there like practicing our freestyle tricks right in the middle of like racing practice. A couple of those guys, Chris Ward, they all saw us and they're like, dude, you should come rip with us at the thing. It was like straight out of like the movies, like Winners Take All or something.
Hey, bro.
If I was a scriptist, you know, dude, you guys should come ride with us. And I think Cameron Steele like was like, yeah, dude, we got a couple spots actually. You know, like we need like 15 riders. I think we got 12, whatever. We ended up going to this course, and they got booters built across the lake. Like, it was massive. These holes dug out over school buses. Like, it was like a dream come true. Like, I think right around that time when, like, Motocross Madness came out. Remember that computer game that took it to the next level with, like, 3D, like, alternate worlds or whatever?
Well, and it's funny because around that time, like, end of the 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of crossover stuff going on.
Yeah.
Surfer Cross got started, I think, 2000 or 01 was its first year.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. There was a snowboard and moto thing that they did up in Big Bear. Like all of these action sports tried to kind of pair up. So
yeah, the wakeboard, we always had a good vibe with the wakeboarders. It was a good mix.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they had all the girls with bikinis hanging out, but regardless, they had this deal, and this course. I mean, Kenny, myself, Rudy, we were all good racers. I mean, plenty of skills. We tackled that course, guinea pigged everything. So we like got the respect of every freestyle guy there at some capacity. You know what I mean? Like, damn, these guys sent it, and there was like one jump. Nobody wanted to jump. It's like 105 feet across this freaking canal, and we all three launched it right away. Like it wasn't nothing. But
it's funny. So Cameron Steele was part of that.
Yeah.
We just had him on the show, and I don't remember him being a freestyle guy, but he goes, "Oh yeah, I was into it."
He might have only been announcing that. I know he was tied to it. I don't think Cam had like really tricks and stuff that were to at contest level, and I was pushing it. You know, like I said, I had knacks and my nose pick and candy. I think by that time I was a few months in. I had a little repertoire, but to stand out at that show, man, I almost got kicked out by Deegan and all those guys because I came out with the sequence jersey and I like zip tied an afro to my helmet. And I don't know. I don't think I danced on the hill at that point, but I like just tried to stand out in my own way, and I beat a couple of the guys or whatever. And I remember just getting dirty looks from all those dudes.
Really?
But the good part is riding wise, they knew that we were good riders. And Cameron, I had told him I was going out to U.S. Open. He's like, "Oh, look me up out there." He's like, "The spots are full," but you know, I ended up talking to him again out there, and in the meantime, I pissed off my chick so much. Oh, it was because of that trip to Vegas.
Oh.
She was not pumped that I went to Vegas without her. And kind of, I called her bluff a little bit. Like, she said she was leaving if I went on that trip. And I was like, yeah, all right. And
anyway, see you later.
Went for it. And, pretty much was the beginning of the end of that one. As far as in Florida, she peeled out with my little dude back to Long Beach, California, where she's originally from. And, I always wanted a family. I always wanted kids. So that was more important to me than anything. I actually loaded up my van, had a $500 max credit card, had 2 dirt bikes, mountain bike, probably like from like Toys R Us or something, not even a good one, and a 1994 van. Went cross country and moved all my stuff out there to try to make it work with her.
She can't do that legally, can she?
I didn't have $1 to get a lawyer to find out, but for some reason I just kind of didn't really fight it too much. I didn't see myself going much farther with freestyle with those guys because they were just doing like, I called them carny shows, and they were happy with the level they were doing it. And we ended up, John Sigismundi is a big promoter down there that's tied in with Clear Channel and them, the Monster Jams and all that. He got us into like one of those fake Quad Wars kind of shows where they looks like you're fighting around, there's a staged winner and you stuff each other and this and that just for the fans. And then they're like, hey, that's tied into the IFMA series, which was the big one back then. That was like the arena cross for freestyle shows that Clear Channel put on. Got us a spot in that. Went all the way to Arkansas and did pretty good. And around that time, I was like, you know what? I can kind of do this. Funny part is I moved back. I drive out to California, try to make it work with my ex. She gives me the stipulation. She's like, yeah, we can make it work if you stop the freestyle thing.
Really?
Yeah. And, for the whatever was in my mind at that time, to make it work for my kid, I was like, all right, yeah. Lived in Long Beach out of her parents' house, worked at Office Depot, and it started raining. And I went to Beaumont one time, like to go ride, and she can kiss my ass. I knew what I was going to be doing. So the Office Depot graveyard job,
What were you doing at Office Depot?
like just in the warehouse, like loading the trucks and stuff. That stuff wasn't gonna fly. After about, so then there was a series called Air MX that went to Tucson, Topeka, Kansas. It was like a little mini tour. They put everybody's Clowers,
Okay.
Tilton, everybody's bikes. A lot of those Blue Torch people I'd met.
What year would this be? Like
This
oh
is,
two,
this is
01? 01, okay.
So yeah, 2000s when it all kind of got going.
Yeah.
Beginning of 01, I think it was February of 01, I knew that I had to get away from the Florida crew and get out here and make my family work. And that rapidly turned in, 2 or 3 week window there,
Yeah.
me being going to listen to her.
Who was, so what crew did you kind of fit in with? Because
No, none of them.
really? Okay. You're kind of your own program.
Oh, totally. I wouldn't say I didn't like get along. There's no shame in my game. There was stories like around February. I moved out here February of 01, and the first contest I ever went to was in Tucson, Arizona. This Air MX. This had Colin Morrison. I don't remember Deegan. I think Deegan was there. Like Twitch maybe. They were rough. They were a rough crowd. You know what I mean? And they got after it at night. And like, I kind of had it in my mind like, well, I got to fit in with these guys. You know what I mean? So I was in the limo with them, headed wherever we're heading into town. And I'm not going to totally do everything everybody's doing, but I'm going to make my best effort to fit in with the group.
Yeah.
And there was a night that I remember me and Cowboy Kenny were parked inside the arena, like sleeping there. Probably didn't have money for a hotel or whatever. I came back and started reading the Bible.
That's how weird
I came
it got.
back and I was like, oh my God, these guys are freaking gnarly, dude. I've seen some shit on the Supercross tour, but that was a wild night right there.
Well, that's why, I mean, you don't strike me as the kind of guy that would kind of hang out with that crowd. I mean, even Twitch at the time,
Dude.
he's a much more urbanized version of himself today, right?
Today,
And
yeah.
I love Twitch, but back then he was hood.
Oh, I'm sure every single one of them can just laugh at
Yeah.
how we or whatever at those times. And dude, I came back and that's what it was. They were messing with Cowboy Kenny. I don't remember who it was, but like they were like throwing stuff at his freaking van and like they came back hammered or whatever and were just really screwing with the guy. And I was like, God dang it, I don't want to be in his shoes. Like they looked at Kenny like the nerd of the group or because he was Pastrana's buddy. And that kind of helped me befriend Kenny a little bit because I saw he was a bit of an outcast, but a sick rider,
Mm-hmm.
And I literally came back and I'm just like an agnostic now. I'm not even really Christian or anything, but I was reading the freaking Bible too. I was like, I gotta make sure I stay straight here.
Lord Jesus, please.
God. But
Yeah.
then the things didn't work out with my chick in Long Beach. I'd fly back, drive back, whatever. And
to Florida?
No, I was permanently in California
okay.
at that point. And I ended up meeting some guys in the south side of Riverside, kind of by Norco out there. There's a place to ride called the Dairy Farm. This guy, Justin Mazer, Heath, I don't remember his last name. They knew Billy Walls, who was out in Beaumont. He had his little riding spot. They had a little network. I was out in Beaumont one time with Randy Lawrence. There's a whole other story with Randy Lawrence where I got flown to Chile thinking, for a freestyle show. And they're like, yeah, Randy Lawrence is going to be with you. Like somehow, because that was when he was in his hot moment with just being a grass mechanic and all
Okay.
that. And RL can ride and stuff pretty good.
Yeah.
They flew us both down and we're on the plane. And I'm thinking, oh, Randy Lawrence, he's a party guy. Like, I got to have a drink with him or something like that. And, it's not a drinker at all. But thinking I need to fit in or whatever, I'd like to kick my old self in the ass for having that mentality. But for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I realized after a couple drinks on the plane, Randy hadn't drank anything. And
He
was
didn't drink,
He
yeah.
was on a full turning his life around thing, and I'm just feeling like a jackass. You know what I mean?
How about Jack and Coke? Woo!
Oh,
He's
dude.
like, I'm good.
I'm such an idiot. But around that time, I started hanging out with. So Randy brought me out to Beaumont, and this has been one of the burdens of my free ride life, because if you know Beaumont, I think I rode you out there one time with you. If you ride it when it's wet, it sucks going back when it's dry.
Oh, it's terrible. You can't.
This is my burden. Everywhere I've ever gone, Ocotillo there, maybe with the exception of Glamis, like Glamis dunes aren't as good when they're wet, but all the cool free ride spots were wet and perfect. And I'm like, this is how it always is. This is great. And then you go waste about 50 trips with crap dirt.
Yeah.
So anyways, I go out there with RL. He shows me around, and I see these guys hitting this booter. You know, somebody shoveled in a jump. I met Graham Gustin, who he made a pretty good run with it there, mid 2000s. Did quite a few shows locally. He was a part of the Costa Mesa, putting those shows on in the middle of the dirt track. Just became one of my really good friends, and we had that group of guys riding in Norco, and that's just one day, man. It was about June of 2021. I started like picking up tricks like this and that, like everything, double grabs, seat grabs, kits of death. Like I started improving really good. We had a ramp to practice on. You know, it wasn't just at the show and practice. And I just kind of started getting this confidence, knowing that I could do something. You know, like a couple months before that, the whole story with Step Up was at that RMX series. That wild night in Tucson, I watched Tommy Clowers break his collarbone at Step Up. And I'm like, hell no, I would never do that. That's freaking nuts. Like, Tomcat's the baddest dude, and he just broke his collarbone, right? Well, the next week of that series, they wanted to do Step Up, and they didn't have enough riders that would participate. So they asked if, hey, any riders want to do it? And I'm like, man, how much? Okay,
yeah.
I'll give it a try. And I just told my buddy Rudy, I'm like, hey, just let me know if I look like a total jackass. Maybe, like, from the stands, just tell me, am I going high enough? And, like, after a few jumps, he's, like, getting pumped. So I ended up battling with Twitch that night at like 30 feet, which was a pretty high height at that time.
Yeah.
Figured it out, and I was like, all right, I'm pretty good at that, whatever. So I used to always like jumping steep stuff, even back in Florida in the pits and stuff like that. So I guess it became second nature. And then started riding with those guys.
Did you ever ride Palm Avenue before it?
No,
Okay.
never got to.
You would have loved it out
Yeah,
there.
I bet. Pictures and videos look sick. But that series... that got me to X Games, so I knew I was going to the X Games. So I started getting all this confidence, like riding with the right guys, picking up tricks.
What was the first X Games that had Moto? 99?
I think 99, 98.
That was when Travis jumped into the bay, right?
That might have been 2000.
It was 99.
Was it 99?
Yeah, I think it was 99.
2000, I wasn't
So this was
there.
pretty early on, but it went to like, it was very popular right away.
Yeah, oh, totally.
I
It was like the
remember...
thing. They had like MTV Sports and Music Festival, and they were like the stars of the show. And
well, yeah... I think that because when it started, it was, you know, Biker Sherlock and Street Luge and like kind of rollerblading, kind of some goofy stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember them showing there was something actually pretty cool going on. And then when the dirt bikes started doing practice,
Yeah.
just this wave of, I mean, thousands of people walking over, like leaving whatever they were looking at. And so it was popular right away.
Yeah, I just had this thought that, like, oh, I live in Florida. I can't really do that thing. Just like watching the dunes, watching Krusty, all those things I loved. For some reason, I just didn't connect the dots that, like, okay, I can pack my shit up and go out west. I didn't really have that desire, to be honest. And I remember my buddy Ron Monk told me one time, he was my suspension guy with Pro Action back in the day at home. He found out that I was moving there. He's like, yep, you're never going to come back. He goes, I've known that you'll always end up out there, which is kind of wild. I still think about that all the time, you know. But got out here, and obviously Beaumont, all these places that I'd see on Krusty. But ramps, you had to do contests to make money. That somehow kept me from going to I never went to Ocotillo till like 04 or something, like 3 or 4 years later. It was all about contest. And what I was getting to on that story is around the summer, I started picking up these tricks in Norco, and you know SoCal is right above Corona, where Troy Lee's office always been. He just used to have a little bitty office. I was like Troy Lee's stuff, whatever. Heard good things about it from RL. I literally just left practice one day after when I was done, drove over there, and today I want to talk to Troy. And his team manager was like, oh, he might be around. He goes, he's actually here today, and he was like meeting with like Kenny Alexander. They were talking about Day in the Dirt or something, like some Hollywood, who knows what stunt stuff. He goes, actually, I got some guys. You know, Troy gets all, when he's fired up about something, he's fired up about it. He's like, dude, good timing. We're about to go to lunch. We'll come over and watch you. Like, how much more surreal can it get than being this Florida hillbilly that comes out here and...
Did you know him before that?
No.
Oh.
That like goes into Troy's shop and talks him into like coming and watching me practice. You don't that never happens. I just got like so lucky with timing, you know. And he piles up a van with like Kenny Alexander and I forget who all, a couple big wig. It could have been James Cameron as far as I knew, but I didn't care because I cared about who Troy Lee was, you know. Get out there, they watch me ride, and he's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, that's bitching."
That's bitching.
Was that a good Troy impersonation? Dude, that's bitching. He goes, we gotta get some gear. I got some shorts, like mountain bike shorts, and he's already like dressing me in his mind, like better than undressing me, but he's got me dialed in, man. I go over there and gets me kitted out, and he's like, I know you're gonna need some more support. Like, you know, I'm sure Troy has been shaken down by the best of them. People wanting to get money out of us. We have to survive, you know. That's it. It's nature of the beast. But he's like, dude, I want to get you out of that van. He like put me in. He was getting a new van. He got me out of my piece of crap van and literally gave me his van.
Oh yeah,
he was driving like a pretty nice, like I don't know, 2004 I think it was. Mine was a 96 I think. 94. Mine was a 94. He gave me like couldn't have been a 2006. Shit, man, this is really showing my age.
Something
it was
nice.
a good van.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put it that way. It was only 5 years old or something. So if that's 01, yeah, it must have been a 96. Seems newer than that. I still have it, by the way.
Oh, really?
I won't get rid of it. Like, I'm going to put my kid when he turns 16 in it or something. So how cool is that, though? Troy, like, digs it, gets me in his gear. Talk about a confidence booster, man. Next thing you know, I'm going to X Games, end up getting a third time, or I don't think I tied. I just got third in step up. Got a freaking X Games medal. Go to Surfer Cross around that same time. Anthony Paggio, who's known my name because he's a Florida guy, throws me an Oakley deal. Like, super cool, man. Like, and now I'm like one of the California guys. I'm meeting all you guys, and like, pretty wild.
Yeah. So like things just happened for you out here when you moved out.
Oh yeah. Definitely a testament to the California dream. I didn't even know I had the dream.
Yeah.
Once I got out here, it all became real.
It happened for you.
Yeah.
So you got a bronze at X Games that year.
Yep.
Good money too, huh? Like.
Oh yeah. I mean,
was that a pretty big?
10 grand probably. I don't know, like way more than I ever got to do any freestyle show or contest. And
so
I would
that's
did it
what
for
I'm
free.
saying. Yeah, I got a bronze in Supermoto one year, and like I was blown away at the money.
Yeah.
I want to say I was 07 maybe, and it was like 15 grand for a bronze.
Totally, yeah. They did a good job paying us. I mean, can't complain one bit. I mean, to have a platform is one thing, and then to pay well. Great.
Did that like make you go, okay, hold on, there's a career here. There's like, it's coming together. It's happening.
Totally felt it. You know, I was glowing, I'm sure. You know, we're hitting Club Metro in Riverside.
The Rocks Club.
Started wearing Dickies. Bleach blonde the hair.
Oh, wow, you were full California.
Total douche.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, you know.
But I started realizing real quick, and I guess that's a good segue into the Who's Your Daddy thing. Those IFMA contests, you know, there was Mad Mike Jones, there was Cowboy Kenny, there was the Tomcat. Everybody had like their nickname and this and that. And I kind of checked myself. I really did, like, that night, seeing how hard the militia guys went and all that. It wasn't my style. I didn't like the attitude and stuff. Tried to get along the best I could, but figured it was inevitable. I was not going to be, if I didn't play the game their way, I was going to be one of the dorks. So I just one day said, man, I've always been the first one at no drinking, anything. I'll be the first one on the dance floor goofing off. I'll wear a leisure suit to a party. Me and my friends used to do stuff like that all the time. So I just started like doing a dance on top of the hill. Drop the bike. I always loved doing the worm. Yeah. It's like I did the Who's Your Daddy, like to smack it up, and then like a whole little repertoire with the back and forth break dance into the worm. Did the sprinkler to get the crowd going. And Lurch, the announcer, is like, Who's Your Daddy? And like just gave me this nickname that stuck for a long time and all that stuff. Yeah. And then it just became like a party favorite at the contest. Like the riders would get sick of me being out there dicking around. The crowd loved it. I'd get the most attention at the autograph sessions, all that stuff. But the riders would come out and roost me and freaking be all pissed off. Dude, I'm sitting there trying to focus and you're out there freaking smacking your dong on the... It was pretty funny. But made a name for myself in my own way. I didn't have to like sell out and go...
I love it, dude. You were yourself, right? Like that was authentic. That is you. That's why I kind of asked who you fit in with, because looking at that crowd, I wouldn't have fitted in with anybody, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I got along with everybody for the most part. We'd all go out, and I wasn't shy to go hit the town up with everybody. But as far as showtime, yeah, I felt like I had to. It's an individual sport. Like, had to be selfish, and if it took a couple extra minutes, and they had to freaking get the air horn to get me off the course, so bad. I'm like kind of a rebel in my own way, you know.
Yeah, well, that was your shtick.
Yeah,
and like
then that became a thing. If I ever won something, that I'd do the dance, and then next thing he's watching Supercross. James Stewart lays his bike down and does my whole damn gimmick. I'm like, son of a, I didn't have to sign off on that. I didn't patent it either.
it's a Florida thing.
Damn.
Yeah, when you are from Florida, they automatically give you the rights to that. So I couldn't find anything at all for you in 2002, 3, or 4. So like, what was going on in those years?
Shit. I guess they didn't document it well. It was some of the better, busier years. I won a Vans Triple Crown with the IFMA, I think in 02. They had all the X Games qualifiers, which were considered World Freeride Association. I won the title, like a title belt, like an actual wrestling belt for the step up. I like won all the, or had the points lead or whatever in those. Went to X Games in 02, but back then in step up, they didn't give you a bronze every time. Sometimes it was only gold.
Oh, really?
So I think I didn't do very good in 02, or I tied for third. I don't really remember. 03, same thing. Can't remember for sure. I was in the mix, you know what I mean? I was doing the IFMA contest, doing pretty good. I won it, like I said, Advanced Triple Crown. 03, I got third at the Gravity Games, which was... No, 04. I'm sorry, that was 04. Went to Gravity Games, didn't really do that great. Then, flips started happening.
That's what I was going to ask. What year did Mets do the double?
That was in 02.
Okay.
So 02, for example, I get to do freestyle, and I tied with Drake McElroy for third.
Drake McElroy.
But he did better his first round than I did, because it was like best of 2. So he got the bump to get the bronze. So I was actually decent at freestyle, like right there, but Mets did the flips, and that was like...
Well, I don't remember where we were, but I remember having a conversation with you about the flipping, going, are you going to do it? Like, it was just so wild. Even a single flip back then was like crazy. First time I saw it, do you remember Dave Domingos?
Yo, Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave. He went to Portugal for a Supercross race with Huffman and I, and he did a flip. I think he got paid like 20 grand, something crazy amount of money. It was a lot of money.
Paying some bank, yeah.
And he did a little flip off a smaller ramp over a berm, landing. And even just that, dude, it was pretty minor by today's standards.
Oh, dude, but it was something
Blew my
to
mind.
watch.
It blew my mind. I couldn't believe it, And then every time I'd see a guy do one in person, I'm just like, what in the world? And I remember having a conversation with you, and you're like, nope, I'm not going to do it.
That's basically the story of my evolution with the tricks. I would always, first time I saw Chris Rourke do it rock solid, where you do a double grab and then let go. I'm like, I will never do that. But I remember before I moved to California, when Kenny Yoho and then would do like a seat grab, and they started trying double grabs. I'll never do that. I might do a regular seat grab, but I'm not letting go both hands. That's stupid. That's just asking for it, buddy. And then
all of it's just asking for it.
You go get your ass beat at a couple of contests, and you change your mind.
Yeah.
Or you just get your air awareness gets better, and you get bored, whatever. But yeah, flips. God damn, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to go and do that every time I ride my bike. But I knew that was going to, for sure, I've always been pretty calculated. I'm not one to sit and dwell on something if it can hurt you for 2 weeks. It kind of has to be in the moment for me to do a spaz move or something wild. And for flips, I'm like, that great. Every time you go practice now, you're going to have to be totally focused and figure it out. But once I saw the money those guys were making and getting beat at contest, I was out at, remember Point X Camp that they did out here? They had a foam pit, and I was trying it on bicycles, and then went up to OGO, and it's in the famous Nitro Circus segment where Andy Bell's like, "You're so ready, Renner!" Like doing it on we did it on a 110 or a 150 XR into the foam pit at OGO, but you were maxed out, so I had to go straight outside to a mulch pile. And the famous line is "Renner, you're so ready!" After I did one on the XR, and then the next 8 clips is me just augering myself and
on a big bike.
Finally stuck a couple, yeah, but it was a real weird setup, and Salt Lake's 6,000 feet elevation or something, so your bike runs like turd, and that took the wind out of my sails, but took a little break from it, and that was 2003. I kind of got it where I could do it at will, after that. But that night that Travis and Deegan went at it in the Coliseum, I think was 2003. I could flip, but I knew what they were doing were so much more mega. Mm-hmm. I was like, Nate Adams was up flipping the 75 footers at that point. I'm like, dude, my little 45 foot flip off the super kicker isn't enough to get me a 5th place, so I'm not even going to risk it, you know? Mm. So I think a couple of years later, I'd do one during my runs because it just became a little simpler, but it totally ruined freestyle, man. We couldn't stay out every night. Like, you had to be way more focused.
Yeah. It ruined freestyle, man. I wanted to stay out all night.
Ruined the good times.
So those were good years for you. It's funny because I'm looking on X Games, ESPN's website, nothing. Terrible setup over there.
Yeah, I mean, I drug my feet a little there in 03, 04. I started getting a lot of trips to travel to Europe and awesome times. You know, Bercy, did all of those. Spain, man, I did tons of shows in Spain. But 2003 is actually when I started whipping the bike different than everybody else. Because Van's Triple Crown, they'd have a whip contest in the middle of the show, and Jeff Tilton would always win. Tilt always had a really good flowy whip. A couple other guys would come in and give him a run for the money, and they would ask us in the locker room, like, "Hey, who wants to do the whip contest tonight?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'd be down to do it if it makes a couple extra bucks." And like, Renner, you can whip okay. Like I remember McElroy said, like he was like one of the judges or something. He's like, "You can whip okay," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And I had been watching like how Cowboy Kenny and them they were seat bouncing it, and Mad Mike had a pretty nasty one back then. I just never really tried it. So in practice, after the little team meeting there, and I talked them into doing it, I started seat bouncing it, and it totally clicked for me. And I ended up winning the whip contest that night. And you could tell they were so bummed they had to give me the win. Like,
did you say something to McElroy?
Me and Tilt were really tight. Oh yeah, I rub it in every time I used to see him. Tilt did not like it because I was better at him than freestyle, and he always knew he was the whip guy and would kind of have a big head about it. But it was undeniable that night. I figured it out. Yeah. And then I kept that going a while, and then brought it into 2005 at the X Fighters, 2005 at the Gravity Games. They had I think it was one of the first best trick contests they ever did. And Twitch had just learned all these flip combos. It's when he got his act cleaned up and was real serious. He had a flip whip, no footer, and he thought he had it in the bag with that. And I just threw a couple big whips and won the freaking best trick contest. And so I give him shit all the time about you got beat by a whip. Yeah. Oh, you're brown nosing the judges, whatever. But it's just funny.
What was your kind of technique for the whip? Because it's there's all these different variations and versions of it. And
at the time, I really thought that one of the secret ingredients was a fast bike, but I didn't really have it built. I had a Yamaha. A couple of times I thought it was really they got really good with a KTM with no linkage, and they were really fast there, 2003, 4. Yeah. And they almost had to start detuning those bikes because they were too pipey for people. So that's not it. It's just a matter of having your bike jet 2-stroke, having your bike jetted good, but now people can do it. Same with a 4-stroke, which 4-strokes have all the power you want. You just don't want to over jump it more than anything. But sitting down, getting that extra rebound, leaning back, pulling back, you almost, in theory, it sounds really risky, but once you got the muscle memory with it, it's not a big deal. You just kind of lean back into it and commit and almost loop the bike out and trust that the rebound's all coming back around. I mean, some ramps don't do you any favors. And if people want me to whip at the track and everything, I can't do it the same way. It's just,
on dirt.
Oh, I've tried so many times, and if you can get some good tacky dirt every once in a while, because it's really not about your tires sliding. Everybody thinks that's what you need. You want full traction and almost send it into the stratosphere. But can't tell all my secrets either.
So yeah, well.
Yeah, seriously, how many times do people ask you, "Hey, how do you do a whip? How do you do this?" And it's you just have to ride your bike and feel
it's a feeling.
Feel the tolerances.
Yeah.
There's some things you.
But it's interesting. Even you saying you kind of tried to start out really front end high and then kind of bring it around. That's interesting. I didn't really.
Well, now that I don't do it as much and I don't ride as much, practicing my freestyle tricks, I have to remind myself of the steps that I would do things. It's not second nature when I was riding every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, there would be some contests and everything where the ramp didn't shape up good, and that became like my go-to thing where I could get away with not even whip or doing flips because I knew I had a good whip that would get the crowd going after they seen like 7 or 8 guys do a regular flip.
Yeah.
I feel like I was wasting a trick at that point. So didn't always work out well. There's somewhere I'm like trying to get under it. And I had this way that I kind of get the bike so upside down that I could get my head looking the other way. And a few riders have done it and they like kind of do like this neck jerky thing and they try too hard to get.
Yeah.
But there's been nights where I can't get under the bike good and I'm committed to doing that. And I like see the video or picture. I'm just like, oh, it's disgusting.
Terrible. The following, and that year too, 05, I guess it would have been. That was when you won Gravity Games with the whip.
Yeah.
And then you also won Mexico City X Fighters.
Yep. One of the bigger nights of my life for sure. They had X Fighters in Spain is where it all started, but I wasn't a big flip guy. Like I could do okay at those things, but like same story as always, my short 45-foot flip wasn't that big of a deal. And went to Mexico City and the elevation was off. Everybody felt a little off their game and Twitch was the main competition that night. And something about the ramps there, man, the energy in that stadium, like we came in that night, practice and everything was okay. And I was getting the whip's really good in practice. So you were getting that props from everybody and that confidence up. But when we walked or rode into the stadium and there's 50,000 freaking people, dude, it was like electric. Like, no other way to put it. It was like, it's on tonight.
Yeah.
And I was flipping there, even though I did not want to flip. My bike felt so slow in the elevation. Just everything clicked, stars aligned, and it was one of the better rides, better nights of my life.
Got to do your dance on top of the hill.
Wow. Oh, I ate the freaking dirt. There's like a video in like one of the Nitro circuses or something where like I was so fired up, did the dance, did the worm, and I freaking ate the dirt. I kissed the ground and ate the dirt and then blew it in the air. And then like they're toting you around on your shoulder and everything. Like I just kind of just knew that I won. I don't know. It was a wild celebration, but you can't get that.
That was one of the better nights, huh?
Oh, for sure. Can't get that feeling back.
What about the following year, 06? I couldn't find anything in 06.
So 06 was the year that backflip combos started getting big. And I was like in total denial that I was going to do that stuff. I went to Travis's. Travis had me all confident, my confidence up, like, oh, Renner, you can do these combos. And you had to get the levers made and all this. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that stuff. So I kind of just played it Save It contest that year. Didn't really, I think I started free riding more, to be honest. There was a Ride to the Hills. Red Bull Ride to the Hills was the first year they did it. We were filming a lot with On the Pipe with Schweitzer, riding Danimals and all those places. So that was kind of captivating me a little more than contest. I don't think it clicked anymore until the next year. And like everything was firing in 07. That was like probably one of my better years. And when I got signed by Red Bull officially, because, as a KTM guy, you were kind of guilty by association, but not an actual athlete. And
do you think that was largely in part to the free riding stuff you were doing? Because it seemed like there was a point, and maybe that was that year, where it kind of went free riding and freestyle split.
Yeah.
Where it was all kind of lumped into the same thing prior to that. And then you saw this cool, like, hey, this is really just organic, natural riding in the hills.
Yeah.
Purist kind of freestyle, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And then there was contest freestyle, which was tricks and all the...
Something that stands out to me is, went on a free ride trip down in Mexico with Todd Potter, and Garth Milan was with us, and so Taylor for Moto, the movie. Well, it was called Y, a Transworld movie at the time. And we go down there, and Todd Potter is a great free rider. I remember him doing a lot of cool stuff at Ocotillo. I think he grew up going out there. But he had started getting like the backflip combos and stuff. And I just remember this being like a time where it's not like one little moment, but Todd didn't want to do any jumps down in Mexico. He didn't want to get hurt down there and not be able to do freestyle because he needed to practice his tricks every day. And it was like I was calling him, we're talking shit, but like I was like, man, that's how all the guys are now. Nobody wants to go. I'm finally getting to go ride Glamis and Ocotillo and all these cool spots. everybody's so focused on this, nobody wants to ride their dirt bike anymore. They just want to do tricks and like perfect everything. So
I say this all the time. The more money that comes into a sport, the more it loses its soul.
yeah, totally.
Like what made it so bitchin' gets diluted.
Yeah, that
with the
100%
money.
happened. And I was just having a ball riding, like Great Ride Open. You know, I don't remember the exact sequence of events, but 2007 it came together. You know, like I had a couple movie parts and stuff with Schweitzer. Dane Herron, that was probably a pivotal moment. He became the team manager for motorsports, two-wheel motorsports at Red Bull. So obviously he was a little biased or partial to freestyle. He was a part of like the Red Bull Ride to the Hills thing coming in. I wanted to win Step Up really bad. I was really pissed. That's another side note. 2004, I didn't get an invite to Step Up. They didn't have qualifiers or anything, and that's when I was I got a factory KTM ride in 2003.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, I know that I got that extra confidence. These bikes are fast. It could be great for Step Up. I've been riding a little bit of Ocotillo like in 2004. Everything was clicking, and then I didn't get an invite. And Metzger and Deegan showed up on the floor, not even caring to do the event, but they had invites. And I was an alternate, and I literally remember sitting in the hall, the tunnel. I don't know if it would have made me or broke me. It probably would have got me banned from the X Games, but I was literally about to just ride into the stadium and jump the fucking jump. Because I think Deegan showed up with like an open face helmet and no shirt on or something like that. Like told me that he wasn't that serious about winning it. He'd probably agree, I would guess. I don't remember what kick Metzger was on at the time, but he didn't seem like he was that serious about it. So there was like 2 spots wasted, in my opinion. I was really pissed. And then in 2005, they did it in the tennis court, and McGrath did it. That was the first time I think McGrath did it. He might have did 04 too, but regardless, felt really good at it. But the way where they set the bar, it was all kind of rushed. Totally, I was going higher than everybody, but hit the bar like on the way up or something. Like it was just in a weird position, and we didn't have enough practice to know what was going to happen. And me and MC were like out in the second round, like shit.
Yeah.
So 06 comes around, no invite again, and I think that was a night bite in.
So how were they, it was just like a popularity contest?
Yeah, total popularity contest and promoter pick kind of thing at that point. Like Paul Tableed, like I can't stand that guy. He made a lot of events happen for the sport, but he also like definitely had a power trip and hidden agendas, and I did not like the way the guy did business, but I was ready to go. I'm factory KTM guy, you know, and I'm like wanting to do it. So 07 comes around, and Dane knew that I was really ramped. I really wanted to win that, and he saw like something in me with freestyle or free riding, I should say, that I was really passionate about it. And I did this world record for a Discovery Channel. I forget what the name of that show was. It was all about the science behind things. We did a Step Up world record thing, and Tomcat had the record at like 35 feet, and I beat the record at 36, whatever it was. Kind of made for TV, but at the same time, it was fairly legit. Dane helped, if I remember right, he helped build it.
Was that at the
That was at my compound in Fall.
Wyvern? Oh, okay.
I was leasing a Fall. It's a really cool compound that never ended up panning out. So I did that world record thing early in the year in 07. To do that, they knew it was going to be big TV numbers. Dane, and they had the Great Ride Open they were planning. I think that actually happened that spring of 07.
Okay.
So they signed me as a Red Bull guy, which kind of caught me by surprise, but awesome too. Like big motivator to keep pushing. I was 30 years old, and here we go.
Yeah.
So I did that world record thing. I think I was one of the standouts on the Great Ride Open TV show, which ended up being really timeless, popular thing. I wish there was ways to see it, but everybody in Moto was watching that from all aspects. Turned out good.
Yeah.
And I kind of quit. I said I'm not going to do that many contests anymore. I wasn't rock star. I just didn't have a desire to go and get 10th place at a contest because I wasn't doing flip combos.
Yeah.
So I started doing like stuff with TV and being like the floor reporter and diversifying myself a little bit, and then just doing a ton of free ride stuff. I'd still do like Red Bull X Fighters contests, like being more selective.
Yeah.
Because they had courses that were like laid out more like free ride style. So that worked out well.
So,
yeah, big year.
but those like Ride to the Hills and the Great Ride Open, those were both really successful, I think.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, Ride to the Hills also in 07. I won that one. It was like
Yeah.
they did a dual one. Like one part of it was it was a more natural one. It wasn't the built hills up
Yeah.
in the rolling hills like with machines. It was all hand built.
Yeah.
And I saw that as a time to really like show what I could do. And yeah, for an older guy, really 30 something at that time, like that was all new to me. So I was like a kid in a candy store out there.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like the Rampage event they have now that is so wild, the stuff they're
Yeah.
doing in that. I think people really dig that, where you're building your own line. It was very similar to that, probably premised off
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about those two events?
I've gone to Rampage quite a few times to watch. My oldest son Nate's into it, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's the camera takes away the gnar, and it still looks gnar.
Well, do you see the guy this year, and I can't remember his name, I'm going to mess it up, but backflipped off the drop and then over that huge gap did a front flip. It's the gnarliest combo
Yeah.
I've maybe ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole broadcast, so I don't really remember. There's a few new names in the sport too, but
Yeah.
pure insanity. Guys are mad talented. They put in so much work out there, which I can appreciate. We built tons of jumps in Ocotillo, like
Yeah.
there's some that are the more natural and the less you got to touch them, the better.
Yeah.
But if you got to go beyond a shovel, and you got to start like hauling in concrete or damming off things or all that, I mean, good on you. It's still better than not, but I like it the more natural, the better.
So Ride to the Hills and Great Ride Open. Tell me about those. That's what I was kind of talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rampage. Like, Ride to the Hills was a made-for-TV kind of contest. The first one in 06 was at Jackpot Ranch and Danimals, I believe they did, or maybe just only at Jackpot Ranch, which was all rolling hills in Central California. Like
kind of like Castillo Ranch-ish.
yeah, exactly.
looking.
Just down the
Yeah.
street from Castillo Ranch, but big booters. And I dug that stuff, but at the same time, like, I was more of a technical rider, I think, than the like fourth gear stuff. I would jump the things, but not get too frisky with
Yeah.
it. So I think I got like third maybe the first year. And then the next year they did Glamis and Ocotillo, which was all about like more criteria of the line and the jump you picked, execution. So you had to like really be methodical about what you did, and obviously still ride it good too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I won that one pretty much both stops, I think. Like, I was just loving it, man. Like, it was pretty obvious that I was having
In your element.
I was like having
Yeah.
a better time than everybody. I didn't
Yeah.
look at it like any bit of work. Like,
Yeah.
there was no pressure other than just to get after it.
Yeah. That seems to be your jam, just kind of the free riding stuff.
Yeah.
Like where you shine. I mean, obviously Step Up didn't do bad for you either, but
Well, Step Up, to me, I treated it like freeriding. I've used this line with my buddy Garth Mylan. He's been out there shooting Ocotillo a million times, and like, Super Mario, who drives the Red Bull bus, like one of my good friends, they're the ones out there pumping us up. Or if they like know I'm gonna jump something that I've never jumped before, or a big booter, they're like, "Come on, dude, you got it." And Garth's sitting there with his camera. I've been on the line at X Games and just said, "Just me and Garth out here doing a photo shoot."
yeah.
Like, just got to get over that bar and whip the crap out of it, and it'll all work itself out,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do look at it like free riding.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to ask you about this because I wanted to, I know the flip thing was kind of a point of contention with you. What do you think of the doubles that are really common now, and then the triples that they're working on, which I think are going to come around even more with the electric bikes?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching that stuff into the pits now, and I'm just like, dude.
No disrespect, it's just I'm not that into it. Like, airbag landings, and don't blame people at all for it. And I've been in shows lately where guy just did a front flip over the 75-foot gap. Super cool. Like, the risk, the danger. Don't matter if it's an airbag or not. So I'm not discrediting anything anybody does. I'm not that into it anymore. I'm not like paying attention really to who does what. I still like the technical side. Like, I've judged a few contests. I take a lot of pride in that and want to take it serious with no bias and everything, and try to keep the roots of freestyle and free ride involved with that, not just all gnar. But But it is what it is. I mean, people are working with what they got, and they got some safer ways to do it, but it's still nasty.
Do you think the electric bike will change free riding and freestyle? I mean, you've ridden, I know several of them, but
I have an Alta, and it's just weird with the engine braking. Like, you kind of have to chop the throttle, so it's not asking me to jump off the bike. I think you can program it different, but I can barely get an email off, let alone can program a electric bike. So I'm a little nervous about that. And I've broken 3 ribs on that Alta at the Mini O's and got knocked out. Really nice clip.
oh, really? Oh, I saw that.
I called it Blackout Friday. I won one of the GoPro contests. It was ugly. Annihilated poor Don Letty. Like, everybody thought I took him out on purpose, but I just landed and whiskey throttled her.
Yeah, I think I messaged you after that, like, hey, dude, are you okay? Because you smacked.
Dude, it sent me... It's like one of those dreams. I don't know if you've ever had those dreams where you just jump way too far. Or, like, I've had freestyle dreams, like, where I've, like, jumped off and climbed into rafters and stuff that.
Yeah.
This felt like I was about to go into the parking lot. Picture, like, a 450 third gear pin when you land off a jump with no clutch, no brakes, nothing, all in to a Supercross wall berm with a couple, like, hay bales on top. With a guy, too.
What happened? Did it stick or, like...
You've rode Minios or Gatorback Supercross
Gator?
ever?
Nah, never the
It's
Supercross.
a sticky gumbo clay, and, like, it gets beat up. And I purposely, like, tried to short this little triple to beat the guy to the inside so he couldn't hit the rhythm section. And when I shorted it, because there's no engine inertia, the bike doesn't handle near... It probably didn't even handle... I didn't think I had it barely set up anyways. But timing is usually pretty good, so I don't... It's hard for me to really tune bikes.
Yeah.
Your timing's really... It might sound cocky or something, but unless you're riding rough stuff trying to set up bikes, like Supercross, I can pretty much go ride something as long as it's stiff. Mini O Supercross is like a mini bike track.
Right.
So I just short this thing thinking the bike's going to react like I want it to, and it just lands like a ton of brakes. Hand comes off the grip, and then, I don't know, I think I fingertip grabbed it like last second, and just leveled on. I went flying like 100 feet. I don't know, I'm probably exaggerating. 50 feet off the berm, dude. I was flying for a long time and landed like on my back side, and my elbow went into my ribs. I think broke a few ribs. And I'm not saying, everybody says they broke some ribs. No, I broke some ribs. Like, I tried mountain biking like 2 days later. I loaded my trailer the next day. Man, I'm freaking bruised pretty good here. Like 4 days later, the chiropractor's like, dude, you're getting x-rays, man. He's like, you idiot, you got 3 broken ribs. Like, one broken 2 spots. Yeah, I got knocked out. Sucked. So take them serious. But I'm not... I don't think it's the next thing. I need a clutch. I need some sound. I'll ride them. I'll ride anything.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go to Supercross and that's all you hear is techno music and...
Yeah, it's weird because I think it's coming. I don't know how long or whatever, but I can't imagine what it's going to be like. 07. Talk about that year, and then we'll take a little break. But this was your first X Games gold medal, right?
Yeah, I forgot. I was talking all about 07, and I forgot to throw that one in there. Like, I was flowing so hard that...
and that was Step Up in LA.
Yeah.
And so you were in Staples Center for that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, because we were at Home Depot Center
Right.
for our stuff.
I finally got invited back. And
Was that a Red Bull influence?
No,
or-
I don't think Red Bull was... No, they might have been at that time a part
Like,
of it. Who knows?
Had you done other contests that year in Step Up and done well? Like,
a few months before I did that world record thing for Discovery Channel, so
okay.
that probably helped.
Yeah.
But I knew him. It's when 450s and everything were getting more popular, you know, and I don't know, it was just common knowledge 450s were too heavy to do that, and being that I'm 150 pounds soaking wet, I didn't think it would be as bad of a thing. And KTM finally had their 07 450 was decent with the electric start and everything. And Kurt Nickel was team manager, a good friend of mine, like all about doing whatever it took. Got me sized up with Tex as a mechanic and had a good bike. I don't remember if it was one of their factory bikes or not, but felt really good. I had this compound over here in Fallbrook, and Clowers knew that I had it. Jeremy McGrath knew that I had it, and one day, like, hey, can we get some last minute practice in? And to be honest, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what the hell's the point of me having my own practice compound and building a Step Up if the guys I'm going to compete with are going to come practice with me?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Jeremy McGrath, one of my heroes. I still got to battle him here. I don't want to, but I got respect for the guys. So I'm like, yeah, come on out. So I didn't do anybody dirty. I didn't like sabotage the lip or anything. I just rode with them on my 2-stroke, and it's like being at the practice track and seeing one person in a corner. You always are looking to see if you're pulling them or not.
Yeah.
You're like racing, even though nobody wants to admit it. That's how it was there. We're all flexing, trying to hit the jump high. And I remember it to this day, the way my driveway went, and the Deleuze Road goes up and around the corner. McGrath's pulling out of the driveway, and I parked my 250, grabbed the 450, and came out and started practicing. And my mom was there, and she was like telling me, like, she could tell by a tree or something how high we were going, and then I was going like 5 feet higher on the 450. And
I remember this. I remember this happening. I was watching it, and it was like you could see that 450, just more torque, obviously better traction.
right.
And those guys are like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah," on that on a
Yeah.
2-stroke, and you could just see like your bike hooking up.
So we get to the Staples Center, and you gotta ride down the thing and into the little pit area. And McGrath's got the factory Honda, whole team there, and the wheels, and everybody's all dialed in. I come down with my 2-stroke, park it, and then I rode down the 4-stroke, and everybody like looks back, and you can tell when people are like laughing or this or that, but came in, first jump, I freaking sent that bitch probably 30 feet, and everybody else is going like 20 to start with. The look on everybody's face when I came back around.
You got
was
real
like,
serious?
Shit. I'll never forget that. That was cool. So yeah, I just kind of won that one with ease that night. And, but that turned into the following years. Oh, you won because you're on a 4-stroke. I'm like, well, dude, everybody had the option to,
Yeah.
there's no rules. You can ride damn Evel Knievel's rocket bike if you want, but you got to still land it. And
Yeah.
I broke one transmission when I was practicing at home. So I was a little nervous about that with the sticky, like, arena dirt. Just knew I couldn't like panic rev. Just had to let the 4-stroke
Take
do
the
its
beating
thing.
when you
Yeah.
landed. Yeah.
I learned all about speed matching. 2-stroke, you just land pinned. You're not going to snap a chain or gears. 4-stroke, you can grenade everything.
Yeah.
So
When did you figure out, because, early on, and I can't remember what year I saw this change, but you went from kind of jumping it straight or, a little kind of turn down to you basically were whipping over the bar.
I actually started that in 2005, and when they did it like in the tennis arena at Home Depot Center, we just didn't have it. We were eliminated so quick from the bar placement, which is a whole other story. It was just so weird of an event. I mean, that's what I love about it, though. It's not like I'm like, hey, other people adapted or they.
Yeah.
I think me and Jeremy went kind of first, and they learned that line we were all hitting was not working, so everybody else pivoted after we were already out. So, but I was already kind of doing like, how on photo shoots, it's like the token rider thing is like, we'll find the racer things even. You find the steep lip at this practice track and do like the turn down.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of already doing that. And then the year that I won, I started leaning into him a bit on the 450. And yeah, and then I just started embellishing it, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, as you got that thing perfected, dude, you were flat over the bar, and it looked super sick.
Yeah.
But even in like just thinking about it, like, well, yeah, if the bike's like this, that's another couple of a foot and a half, 2 feet.
Right. Yeah.
But it's pretty sketchy to hit a wall and go, all right, I'm going to throw this thing flat, 30 feet in the air, and then get it back lined up and land
What's the
like
old,
a ton of bricks.
Hooters catchphase, often imitated, never duplicated.
Yeah, I think also boobs and chicken too, or
Yeah.
boobs and wings. They have many.
That it wasn't really duplicated by anybody very good until Jared McNeil came along, and he was a little whippersnapper that could whip good and nice and lightweight. Like he had a lot of the elements, and he definitely stole my thunder pretty good. And he started seat bouncing it in the later years, which I had the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, and was in denial about seat bouncing it. But they started making the angle less. Couple degrees, and I was like, man, I know I can do it if I just find the steeper lip on the thing and do my technique. And it wasn't until the last year in 2019 that I was finally like, all right, in practice, like 2 jumps left in practice, I started seat bouncing.
Oh, really?
And I'm telling you what, you want to scare the hell out of yourself, seat bounce a vert wall. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense when you go to do it.
The quarter pipe thing, I want to talk to you about that because just the physics of that sketched me out so bad. And it would be the same thing as this: seat bouncing a wall, trying to go like, flat over a bar and then get it back to land right.
I
It's
owe it all
awesome.
to free riding, though, man. I would never have had that kind of feel for the bike if it wasn't for all the free ride stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's just all I search for out there is like the steepest stuff possible. Works out well when it's set up on a freestyle setup.
Yeah, for sure. To wrap up '07, X Games gold in Dubai in best whip. Red Bull Ride to the Hills winner, which we talked about. Is that the same one or it was another year of it?
No, that was the second one in
Second
07. Yep.
So those were good years for you. And what was your best year as far as earnings? Probably right in that window, right? Because 08, everything took a nosedive.
Yeah.
Economically.
I mean, it's really hard to tell that the randomness. You know, you mentioned I don't know, we were talking about like 01, 02 when I moved out here. Like, when did you know it's going to be a career? I'm like, I still don't.
You
never know what's going to come next. You know, you don't want to get, as soon as you get cocky with it, the invites quit coming. You know what I mean? Like, I never knew when my last trip to Bercy was going to be or whatever it was. You start feeling it. Like, if you're not keeping up with the flip combos and what is the crowd pleaser stuff, your name's only going to take you so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as financially, it's like, there's been years where I've had good sponsors. You know, I would say like 2013 was really good. I had Fox Clothing, who was doing really good for me, KTM, Red Bull. They had 4 X Games, you know, with the global ones.
Yeah.
That was a really good year. I'm sure 07 had to be pretty good because I freaking did a lot of things and won a lot of things. 08, I did the quarter pipe stuff. 09, I did quarter pipe stuff, which paid a little bit extra. Traveled to Europe a lot. Like,
Yeah.
the internet says I'm worth a lot more than I am. I can promise you that.
So were you having, I don't like to get into people's accounts too much, but were you having like 7-figure years?
No, never.
Okay.
Never close. I don't care to talk about finance. I'd rather people.
Well, I'm just curious.
I'm not trying to flex and be anything I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. It's like the internet says I'm worth like $7 million, which is a crock of shit because I don't see not even 1 million of that. You know what I mean? I'm still like everybody else. I'm trying to live. I was never Travis Pastrana. I was never Deegan. They've done things with their name and their persona. Like they're, I think, way more dynamic and outgoing and risk takers. I was like, I guess, like looking at it like the stock market. I've always gone kind of conservative, believe it or not. It might not look at it like it with the average eye to people thinking like, oh, well, you did the quarter pipe or step up. But those, to be honest, I've never been all that frightened at step up or anything. Like I've never felt like I'm rolling the dice. Now I've gone in 2012 when I like have the record. I was getting tired by beating me a couple of years in a row that I was like, yeah, I'm going to either come out of here in the ambulance or I'm going to win this time. But like, it's still not the same as saying I'm doing a double backflip like Pastrana did, you know?
So what would you say your best year was you made? Ballpark it.
Maybe $250,000, 250 probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never had a huge
Because there was,
salary contract with anybody or anything like that.
wasn't there years that like Twitch and Nate and those guys were making like really wild money?
Wouldn't surprise me. Like it's not something we all talk about. You know,
Yeah.
when people start talking, that's when usually it's embellished
Yeah, that's
over
true
the
too.
top. But, you know, I know going to show start fees and stuff like that. I know used to get a good chunk of change to go to Red Bull X Fighters. If you were a previous winner, they took care of the guys like that. But there's only a few of those a year. It's not like, and I think I did maybe 5 or 6 since I won one. And then like the tricks got so gnarly, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, never a Yahtzee year by any means. I just kept plugging away.
Before we take a break, what was the guy who used to show up to X Games? He learned a double flip, wore like gardening gloves, and drove an ambulance to the thing.
Still does. Just rode with him last show that I
Did you?
did in August. Scott Murray.
Scott Murray.
Such an awesome dude, man.
Is
One
he?
of the nicest guys you would ever meet. And I brought up the gardening gloves the other day. He got a little pissed. Those are welding gloves.
Oh, they're welding gloves. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get him started on that. Seriously though, such a badass dude. He's still freaking driving the ambulance, freaking doing freestyle shows, double back still.
Really?
Got a family. Has got like 15-year-old son that's starting to dabble with it a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Nicest wife ever that looks like Pam Anderson in her prime.
Oh, yeah?
Like living in top of Michigan, middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, dude's awesome. He's got it going on.
How'd I go so wrong, you know? Scott Murray with the welding gloves, you know?
You're doing all right here, Ping.
All right. Hey, I got a lot more questions for Ronnie Renner. We're going to answer your questions too when we come back from the break. This is your TLD timeout. We'll be right back. There's a new product on the market that's going to help you with your riding and racing, and it's Elevate Action Sports. If you've not yet gone and checked it out at elevateactionsports.com, it's a collective of riding coaches, the likes of which has never been put together. Grant Langston, Ryan Hughes, Jeff Emick, Johnny Campbell, and myself, David Pingree, bringing all of our years of experience in professional racing to one place with professionally produced videos and all kinds of supporting staff to help you with your mental side of racing, your physical side, your bike setup, your bike maintenance. We cover it all. Get to Elevate Action Sports right now and join the community.
Dunlop. There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
Since 2009, Seat Concepts has been dedicated to making the best aftermarket seats. More comfort, more grip, more riding. For 10 years, we've continued to raise the bar. Innovation and American craftsmanship make Seat Concepts the world-leading manufacturer of power sports seats.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
Specialized Bicycles. Specialized leads the way in the world of bicycling. Whether it's cross-country racing, downhill, e-bikes, enduro, road, gravel, dual slalom, dirt jumping, or all mountain bikes that do it all, Specialized has the perfect ride for you. The brand is synonymous with engineering excellence and innovation that steers the industry. Visit your local Specialized dealer for a test ride and see just how good Specialized products are.
I try to keep on keeping on.
With a rich history in motocross, ProX has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975. Whether you're rebuilding an engine or just need a new chain, ProX Racing Parts aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. ProX has over 9,000 part numbers and over 60 different product types that are manufactured by highly reputable or even OEM suppliers and are offered at affordable prices to help keep riders on the bike instead of in the garage. Visit ProX.com to search parts for your bike or check them out at your favorite online or local dealer.
Audio Jungle.
The guys are just breaking in their race bikes, which will leave on the semi this Saturday to go to the first Supercross for our coast in Orlando. So the guys are just be goofing off a little bit, do some cool photos, do some cool videos. When you go racing, you want to do well, but a big key is keeping the bikes on the track. That's why we chose to work with Moto.
Expectations coming in as a rookie is just to try and get my feet wet and honestly just send it, see where I end up, and do my best out there, but just ride aggressive and ride like myself in practice, and I should have a good time.
Challenges of this sport, I believe, is just simply staying healthy. With how fast we're going and what we're doing, your margin for mistake is really, really small.
Stay Sick. If you have little rippers, then you have had to have seen Stay Sick bikes by now. We have created bike and experiences that allow kids to develop sooner and empower them to find their own ride. From learning to ride to sharpening skills, the Stay Sick promise is accelerated growth. Whatever path your family chooses, it's going to be the ride of your life. Stay Sick Stability Cycles.
I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. I'm on vacation. If you don't like your life, then you should go and change.
Hey, welcome back, folks. That was your Troy Lee Designs Time Out. Those guys are cranking out new gear, helmet paint, mountain bike stuff, all kinds of cool things. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com and get yourself all dialed in. All right, we're going to answer some fan questions here. We did an Instagram Live, and we got some stuff here. A lot of it we've already answered already.
Yeah, that means we already did it. Already.
Told you I was real gooder in English class. Does he remember his first super gnarly whip and what clicked in his brain when it happened? Did he have any shocking realizations that led to him throwing some of the most nasty whips that could ever be done? Woo! Crusty Damon's of Dirt. We kind of covered that.
Yeah.
The contest. What was the contest where he won with a whip and Twitch was pissed? That was 05 Gravity Games. Yeah. When and why'd you stop racing and go FMX? We covered that. Jeff Beaver, our buddy, what was his most satisfying accomplishment in Moto?
Oh man, that's a.
I wonder if he's talking about like motocross or just Moto in general.
Oh god, well that would have to be Loretta Lynn's because that's the only thing that I really put a lot of effort in and got the result at the end I was looking for. But yeah, I mean, I owe everything to Moto. If I wasn't decent at Moto growing up doing that, I would have never been decent at freestyle for sure.
Yeah.
Like I probably
that's the foundation, right?
I probably had the mentality to be a ramp kid, goofball, just there to hang out and have fun and party and whatever. But like I would have never had the skills, and I'm too scrawny and fragile to take the hard way. So I had to grow up riding Moto to be pretty smooth and not fully mistake free. You know, I always say my worst crashes are probably still to come, but as long as you're out there getting after it, shit happens.
Yeah, it does. Did he actually, I like this question. This is from 50 Plus Frank. Did he actually buy or get a stock bike, ride it from the dealership to the track, I think Milestone, hit the Supercross track and bail? I remember hearing about this legendary tale and wondered if it was true. If anyone could do it, it'd be Renner.
Well, he's on the right track. The story is actually better than what the legend says there, I think. I have a 500 EXC, which I still have the bike.
Okay.
And it was a Fox dealer ride day or something like that. And I literally rode from Marietta to Milestone with all black gear on, like a street bike helmet, and then just went straight onto the track and was like honking at people and stuffing people and jumping all the jumps on it, and then rode away.
Just left.
Yeah. I actually think I ended up coming back like 20 minutes later because I had to say that I showed up, but they're all talking about it. I'd be like, dude, who was that guy? I got to get people charged up. Like, who the hell was that guy? Freaking stuffed me. Yeah, me too.
He was honking at me. He put his blinker on.
Wait a second. We haven't seen you all day. Was that you? I'm like, maybe. I actually went back and I stopped at Elsinore and did some laps too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You go all in when you go on a gang.
I'm his full character.
One more here. This is from Original Jeff. He says, does he still breakdance and support Joe Biden?
Of course I still breakdance. And the only thing that I would support with Joe Biden is putting him in a nursing home.
Well, that's the only thing that makes sense at this point.
It's a sensible thing to do. Next question.
Did you have... I have a question.
breakdancing, to be honest, the last time I tried to worm, I about scorpion and accordion myself. So the breakdancing may be done.
Breakdancing's out? You
Maybe.
get too old at a point and your body doesn't move like that anymore.
Oh, I was at a wedding. I did the whole repertoire, like into the setup breakdance thing. And, you know, I mean, like and then threw it into the freaking worm and it just went, like, just crumpled. Like,
just a melting crayon.
Like I was going to say a human zip tie or something. Party was over, so yeah.
Did you have a piece of cardboard and parachute pants when you were a kid and like do the full breakdance?
Yeah.
Breaking, that movie, man.
Yeah.
You saw that movie, right?
Beach Street, Breaking. Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, they got pretty bad. When they get to like sea level movies, even a kid was like, no.
Yeah, that's too dorky about.
Now the Dolomite series. Rudy Ray Moore. B movies.
We're really
Kung Fu Ghetto
aging
guy.
ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get back into your story here. Who was your in Step Up? Obviously, Step Up was a really good event for you, and you were that was your strong thing in X Games. Who is your fiercest competitor? And probably Byton.
Yeah,
but
Byton for sure.
Yeah,
Byton spans out the biggest amount of time, and I just don't even like mentioning Jared McNeil because he's beat me so many times in a row now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're not going to talk about it.
Is he the new Renner for Step Up?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he has 4 or 5 in a row, and that's what I left off at was like 4 in a row. So can't deny it, man. He's got it figured out pretty well, and I gave him a good run for the money on the last one. Like I said, I started seat bouncing at the very end of practice. It was very uncomfortable, and it wasn't a good sign when I was like in the starting gate, or whatever you call it, the queue. And I'm like, I was like you ever see a dog when they can't get settled in and they'll like do like 5 circles and before they finally like fix their blanket and finally put themselves down. That's what my butt was doing. I'm like, where do I need to sit? Like you got literally like 25 feet or 20 feet before the takeoff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm not in the right spot here, body positioning wise, I'm not going to get the right pop.
Yeah.
I'm also not going to get traction. I might wheelie. I'm like, this is not a good sign. So my mind was just smoking right there. Like, oh, please do this all right. It's like, definitely wasn't as comfortable as I should have been, but I still was like right there. Like me and Colby Raha tied for second. I think with me experimenting, I hit the bar once leading up to it. So Colby got the edge. I think got second. I ended up third. But I think they knew that the old man still had some fight in him. And then COVID happened. No more X Games Step Up. Bummed. And I got no desire to do quarter pipe at X Games.
No?
Like, no. I told myself back in the day, I wasn't going to get into a pissing contest with that stuff. Like, made that event happen, made whatever records. Records can be broken. All you got to do is change the angle of a ramp. There was no set ramp size or anything. So people came in, made like a 8 foot taller takeoff ramp. Of course, you can go higher off of that and a bigger landing. And then X Games came along and they were like, hey, do you want to do Step Up if we do it? I'm like, if you make the landing decent size, like I don't want to go there and it'd be like some Mickey Mouse little setup.
You should make just like a 40-50 foot tall ramp and a landing that matches it. And then you only jump about 10 feet.
Yeah.
But you're like, hey, I was 60 feet up.
Have you seen the ones recently? These guys are going big, man.
it's
I mean, I
wild.
can't discredit any of it. I know me good enough to know, and I would guess that riders would agree. Like, if I wouldn't say I'm aged out, but like if it was that important to me still, if my ego was super attached to it, that I would go there with guns blazing trying to win the thing. Not saying I would, but I still think I would be a contender. I wouldn't call that a shoulda, coulda, woulda scenario or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, I know that it's gnarly. I don't want to get hurt doing that. I've told myself not to go to war.
Yeah.
Because there's no momentum left when you splat with that, man.
Well, I have a question here about Step Up specifically, or quarter pipe specifically, because it freaks me out. But since you mentioned kind of the new guys doing this, I wanted to get your opinion on Axel and the stuff he's doing, because his compound down there is gnarly.
Yeah.
And some of the jumps I've seen him do, I mean, it's like bananas.
He's the most talented, gnarliest dude on a dirt bike alive right now. Like, I think. I mean, yeah, racers, Jet Lawrence, Roxon, you can't deny their talent. And they can go out and free ride and do all these things. But the technical stuff, the big stuff, the the danger stuff. Like Axel is doing everything, and he can still go turn some laps if he wants to. So
well, and even like he's doing a
bad
flip, landing in a wheelie, or landing in a stoppie, and then just bringing it right onto a stand. I mean, it's like, maybe he tried that 20, 30, 40 times before he got it. I don't care.
Right.
Still gnarly.
Yeah, one time's enough for me to say, like, all right, that was not easy. It was risky. Like, the favorite thing that I've seen him do is the alley-oop. Like, it was something I thought I wanted to figure out how to do. I just never really had the practice way to do it. It's one of those things, like, damn it.
Yeah.
The Red Bull foam pit had burned down up at Wyvern, and that was where I wanted to try it. Like, this is 15 or 10 years ago, probably. And then once
Pages is doing that too, right?
No, he does more of the bike flip with it. He kind of goes up at it like that, but then he flips his whole bike. That's a whole other gnarly thing. But the actual alley-oop styled out, steezed out like a BMX guy would do, like that's to me the coolest thing.
It's
and then
rad,
obviously the 75-foot flips into a wheelie landing is like mind-blowing to me. So, yeah.
Okay.
Hats off to the kid.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I'm just going, is this kid for real?
And
like,
it's freaking entertaining, dude. Him and his dad. How cool that he gets to hang out with his dad.
Did you watch the
PH is funny as crap. I like have a blast every time I've been around him. I can't can't deny it.
Did you see the video at Hills where PH goes into the bushes? Dude, I almost peed my pants. I was laughing so hard. The second time he goes in, dude, I'm just buckled over laughing.
I was literally tearing up laughing because it just kept coming. It just kept coming.
And Axel's so concerned. Dad, are you okay?
And you can tell it's not fake. Like this day and age, I get so sick of clickbait crap and like all this pandering and no, that was all like
genuine.
Real time. That's what I love about the GoPro when you just got it running and you catch some stuff like that.
Okay, what about when RC did step up? I wanted to ask you about that too.
Oh yeah. Wanted to beat him bad.
Yeah. Take me through that one.
Well, 08, first time I got to go against him. I think I did something against him in maybe 06 or 07 when they did that thing in San Diego, the Moto X Championships thing.
Yep.
And he ended up crashing out. Me, him, and Byton were going at it pretty good. 07 he didn't do for some reason, and then 08 he was back. And I crashed in speed and style. And like I separated my shoulder, mild separation or something like that. But I was struggling to hold onto the bike. Like I had to have the Red Bull guy wrap me up and everything. And I just didn't have the fight. I didn't have the dog in me and that night to go. And I ended up crashing, just riding uncomfortably. I like kind of went to whip or whatever. And I landed on the side of the landing. And just instead of like any momentum, it just slammed me right to the ground. And it was just, I was done. So RC got me on that one. And then
what year did he bust his chin open from landing so hard?
The next year, 09.
09.
Or that might have been at the Moto X Championships.
Okay.
But he did crash out in 09. Me and him were head to head. So I came back in 09 because everybody was saying I only won. And this is, I'd like to kick the old me in the ass for worrying about what everybody's saying and trying to prove something. Because I wanted to go back on a 2-stroke and show him it wasn't because of the 4-stroke that I won in 07. And had what I thought was a pretty mean 2-stroke. And me and RC battled it out. We got to a point where neither one of us could clear this height. He ended up crashing, and I was the next one to go. And according to the rules, they're supposed to move the gate back 5 feet for the next person to go because we missed it like 2 times in a row. And I'm like ready to go. I'm on my bike, like let's go. And they're like talking to him, and it is what it is, man. I don't care if I piss anybody off. I don't think ESPN's doesn't even own X Games anymore, so I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot at this point. But I remember Paul Tabley talking to somebody and RC, and I saw RC and heard him say, I don't get paid enough to do that again. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, all right, just line me up and I'll go win this bitch, right? And then Paul Tabley, all right, we're just going to give them both a gold. We're going to call it right here. It could have been a TV thing. I don't know. Or a timing thing with TV, but like that pissed me off more than anything.
That
sucks.
Like,
am I going to call myself the GOAT after that? No, but of course I want to beat Ricky Carmichael,
yeah.
you know? Like, so end up tying with him, which I'll still take as a win.
Still feather in your cap.
I said, all right. You know, me sitting there counting the dollars. Yeah. I'm like, all right, as long as I freaking get the right amount of money for this.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing about X Games that the couple of years I did it, I noticed was it's like it's all for TV. Whatever is best for TV. Screw the fans. even the riders, like you can sit on the, I remember sitting on the grid, with Supermoto, you got tire warmers.
Yeah.
And you want to keep them on as long as you can. They'd pull us to the grid. Yeah. All right, everybody ready? Okay. Oh, no, hold on. We're going to break for commercial. And it's like teams are scrambling to get warmers back on, and they start them up. No, wait, hold on. The guy's in his ear. Oh, hold on. And you're sit up there for 15 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, do that when you're about to go for step up and you're finally psyched up to drop the hammer and a minute hold. We got a commercial.
It's maybe one of the hardest things about that.
Imagine being a best trick guy about to do the gnarliest thing ever.
Well, I think Travis, before his double, there was like a big long delay, and he was back there sweating it.
Probably.
Anyway, okay.
Do you know that I did Supermoto once? I did the Long Beach one, made the main.
Oh, the Queen Mary? Yeah.
Queen Mary? Yeah.
I won the 250 class that day.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was an idiot and rode 450s and got lapped by Wardy. And
Wardy was pretty good.
That was a sport that I was like, this is cool, but I could see myself high-siding to my death.
Did you ever crash?
No, I was too much of a pansy.
As long as you don't hit a wall, something that won't move, you'd be blown away. Like I low-sided the first time, probably at about 45, 50.
Right.
Fast enough to be like, oh no, on my way down. And you just, because the energy, the speed you have just dissipates.
Right.
You kind of have to move, like your instinct is to just put your palms down and whatever, and your hands will get hot. You got to kind of.
I dressed for the crash. I just never pushed it hard enough to test it out.
But once you do and you realize,
you could probably let it hang out a lot better after that. Yeah.
So only time I got nervous was when there would be like concrete K-rail or something where if you tuck it, you're going to.
I was too cheap and I didn't have enough, I don't think, racing talent to be good enough to make it worthwhile, It was
really fun.
I remember Metz was super into it because he's one of the first people pushing it. And then when he got beat a couple times, he was out the door. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm never going to go as fast as Metz does on that stuff. He's got some pretty good experience with it. But
yeah,
it's too bad. I did Ayresburg. That's probably not on your notes. Did I finish Ayresburg?
Yeah,
before?
I got you. We'll get there. Slow your roll, buddy.
That one doesn't show up because they didn't show that I finished.
Oh, really?
And I did finish.
Why? Not within the time or something?
No, I finished within the time, but they tore the scoring tower down. Like, I made it within the last 10 minutes. A lightning storm was coming in, so they tore the scoring tower down. I got all the checkpoints and everything. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, tell that story again.
Okay, I really figured that would not get brought up. I just thought of it.
I got a couple other questions, though. X Games 2007. It was the first year I did it. Did you get, because I thought Red Bull had all their athletes to some dinner, and we got this big black box with a helmet in it.
Yep.
And you remember the little credit card they gave us?
Yep.
Anything, anytime, anywhere, and you just called this number and there was somebody. Did you do anything with it?
No, probably not. I was so focused on winning that damn race that the shenanigans, like, too close to home. That's the one thing. It probably kept me, probably why most of my wins were in LA, believe it or not, because I wasn't one of the people going, I'm in LA. I hated going to LA. I used to go there for stunt work, and get me in there and out of there. Like, my family's there with me. Like, thank God.
It's miserable.
Yeah, it was.
Well, because I ordered a massage. They sent a masseuse just to my house here. I drove home at night, but I thought, that's reasonable, right?
Damn.
Do you remember Eric Sorby ordered like a French bulldog and a pair of really expensive jeans? Like,
oh my God.
Malott had to call him and go, Sorby, like, come on. It's not the spirit of the thing.
I'm like wanting to go back in time right now. I feel like I might have blown it with that. I thought it was maybe a joke or something, or just for the hotel. Damn it.
No, dude, it was like anything. So
now I'm going to be mad the whole rest of the freaking podcast.
Don't be angry. Dude. Don't be angry. Okay, I have another question. Lost control. We have another question from our esteemed producer over here, Kyle Cowling. He wants to know about the Green Thumb jump.
The Green Thumb. The Green River, Utah Thumb. That was a jump that Metzger and Sean Hyland did in one of Metz's OG videos, 2000 or something like that. And I was out filming with Godfrey for Nitro Circus or something. Shows me that thing, and I was like, oh, I remember that from a Metzger video, and some angles had changed, and it got, like, you had to jump over the whole thing. Like, Metz and Hyland did this real steezed out, gnarly looking thing, but then the jump had changed, right? Some quads had, like, wadded up where their landing was. So now to clear it, you had to hit it wrapped out to make the tabletop. And, the faster you go, the higher you go, and barely any more momentum with it.
Yeah.
So kept pacing it out. Jumped it then. I don't even know that the footage ever made it to any video because I didn't really get stylish on it. I just cleared it. And that's not what Nitro Circus movies were really about.
Yeah.
Maybe if I would have crashed my brains out on it, I would have made the cut. But we went back there in, that was the last stop of the Great Ride Open in 2007. And that's just when I know the right time and the place, I will send it. And
was it sketchy?
Oh, yeah.
The photos pretty radical.
So the story goes, like, me and Tomcat were talking a lot of trash to each other on the trip about who the better free rider was, and probably some of it was kind of serious, you know what I mean? There was me and Byton almost got in a, just road trip stuff, and buddies almost gotten in a squabble one time. Like, anyways, Tommy found this big old booter jump, and then I was like, all right, yeah, I got to do the thumb now. So drug the crew over there, and it was I don't know why, like the jump had changed from when I did it the year before, and I got a lot steeper feeling, so I finally just had to go for it, and like second gear completely pinned on a 250. Doesn't sound like a lot, but the face is probably 50 feet high, and you just gotta hope your momentum gets you over it. And yeah.
What if you shorted it? Was it a bounce?
Oh, ankle breaker for sure. Because I would pace it out the best I could until you finally would just, front tire wouldn't even make it to the knuckle yet, and it would just hurt too bad. So you had to have faith you'd make it.
So I went to Beaumont last year for a TLD photo shoot with McGrath and Seeley.
Okay.
It's the first time I'd been there in a while. Jumping stuff, right? Like we were hunting around trying to find some jumps. And
you still ride though. I like to hear that.
Oh, I ride. I love to ride, dude. I'll ride till my wrists and knees won't take it anymore.
I'm in.
But I'm like looking for the vet jumps now, big rolly landings that have a lot of room for margin. But I remember back in my younger days when you'd find a new jump and everyone's kind of circulating, looking at it, sizing it up, that feeling in your stomach, like,
oh yeah. I think my stomach just rumbled thinking about it.
Dude, it was a great feeling, but also like terrifying. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's that mix of adrenaline and whatever the hell it was. And I most of the time I just remember like you just kind of quiet that voice in your head that's going, yeah, I don't know, maybe just you don't have to do, just wait, and you just go, no, I'm going, and
yeah,
grab the gears and do it. Did you have like a process if there was something like the thumb where you're like, okay, I just gotta freaking send it? Like, kind of what was your process to get through a big jump like that?
A lot of inner voice chatter going on.
Yeah.
But it really came down to, kind of like, I'll say, especially when you're filming, it always made it easier for me because I know people are waiting on me. And, like, yes, I'm not worried about them, but at the same time, like, I wanted to make sure we got the shot.
Yeah.
I would tell myself, all right, I'm going to do one more pass at it, then I'm going. Never say one more, but that's in that situation. Yeah. I'm just going to do another pass. And after I look at it, then I'm going. And I would just got to a point where the confidence is, once the confidence is there with you, it's easier to live by that. But I just kind of got this mentality that once I turn that corner, same with a backflip, same with even like one of the hardest things with freestyle shows, it don't matter if it's the same 75-foot gap, you're in a new arena.
Yeah.
That was the story of my life for like 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird now. I finally don't even think about it too much when I go to jump a jump. I just know that when I turn the corner, it's almost a matter of like when the goggles go on, you're in like this zone, and I know I'm committed. There's no more thinking about it. And then you just have to know that the muscle memory is going to kick in, and it's not even scary at that point. It's scary up until you make that corner.
Yeah, it's kind of like a start, right? Like your nerves are just going through the roof until the card goes sideways, and then it's just like you just focus in, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But I found myself, especially now that I'm older, even if I go to a track and there's a big jump, which is embarrassing. I've had mini bikes have to tow me off jumps. Like, I don't know how fast to hit this, and I'll follow a kid on an 80 that's doing it. But I'm way, that inner chatter in my head is a way bigger pussy than it used to be.
Yeah.
Nah, man, you don't gotta do that. No, you don't get hurt.
But I bet you're not riding as much as you used to either. No. So you're just gonna kind of lose that comfort. I mean, this happened to me. Loretta's was in August, and I rode Kauai Creek once, a few weeks after, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, sometime in August. And then I didn't touch my bike really again until the previous Thursday, which was, where are we at here? November. And I felt like a squirrel out there, man. Okay. I was trying. Dade City's my track. I can usually go there and get after it and feel really good. And I started like timing things bad. I literally pulled myself off the track a lap early and parked it because I was like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Because let's face it, going to the track and riding slow if you rode at a good level is not fun. You might as well go to the desert and go trail riding.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it's not just me. Like it happens, but I it's funny you talk about your inner monologue. I'd love to be able to hear people's thoughts.
Yeah, totally.
In that, like before a big jump or an X Games, whatever.
Yeah.
If you could hear what they're thinking and how they go from,
when I did
second guessing it to going, okay, I'm going. Like I would love to listen in on that process.
Backflip days were the worst with like being psyched out in your own brain. Like, you got it. If you do the proper steps, like I would make sure I stood up out of the corner sooner than I normally would. I said, you don't jump, you flip. If you say I'm going to jump and then flip, you're already doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Because you approach the jump completely different. You gas it different. So I had to have like a routine. And once I turned the corner and I did the right protocol, my brain would be focused on that. But there's definitely a lot of talking going on. And maybe saying, don't be a pussy.
Yeah. Well, so that was one of the things, but we'll move on here. But you talked about it almost made it easier when you had a film crew or a photographer. I almost got like, that would make it harder for me because I'm like, dude, I'm not just doing this just to get a photo. Like it's not worth getting hurt. And I would almost talk myself out of it. Like you're just doing this because that guy's videoing.
Yeah.
But for you, it was actually like,
that's a paycheck though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm paid to do. I mean, in a sense, I'd like to say I'm out there just fully doing it for the soul, but I think you're lying if your ego's not attached to it, your reputation, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I go home. When I'm at home, I build stuff that's I'm jumping side by sides that can break your back easily if your timing's bad. And I approach it just like dirt biking, man. I feel it out. I have the confidence. I got good timing and confidence in my timing, and the majority of the time works out.
Okay. 2008. You got a world record for the quarter pipe in Santa Monica. It was a whole Red Bull production. It was pretty cool. I remember that all
Big
going
soiree.
on. Huh?
Big soiree.
It was a big soiree. Tell me about.
Is that a fancy word there?
Let's talk about quarter pipe because I watch it and I just think of like what I feel like is going to happen is you go like this and you're kind of trying to whip it, let's say to the left.
Mm-hmm.
But the bike being the gyro that it is, I feel like it would start to go and then I'd get peak of it and it would start to come back.
Yeah, I call that stalling out.
Dude, and then I just think you're up there falling sideways to the ground.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any moments where that happened?
Close. A couple of close calls when I was practicing for that stuff. The first thing I had was this mobile structure when we were going to go to the pier, and we learned real quick I needed to put carpet on it so my tires would grab right, because if you had all that momentum transferring weird, your tires would not want to hook up and want to pull down like almost the angle you're saying.
Okay.
The carpet wasn't even enough. We had to use carpet with padding just like you do at a house to make it have like a dirt feel.
On the ramp?
No, on the landing.
On the landing.
Because you would come back, and if you didn't do a full pivot, the bike would have that feeling. I called it stalling out. So the higher you would try to go straight up and down, and that's why my hat's so off to these guys now, because they're committed and they're going straight up the ramp and doing all that rotation. I had more of an arc to mine.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the learning curve, I guess, or I don't know, just
worked progression well with
it worked well with my whip style, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me once I committed to it. But a couple times when I tried to go a little straighter and it would stall out, it's the freaking scariest feeling ever, because you're like, oh, it's like when you're an endo on a bicycle. There's nothing you can do. There's no amount of throttle or anything. You're kind of helpless on the bike too. And luckily, that we had enough traction on the landing that it held the back tire and powered through it. But yeah,
it scares the hell out of me. Like even watching guys do it now, I just imagine how that would feel, because I can kind of you can watch someone and go, oh, I can feel the bike doing this, and I'm just like, I don't know how they're doing it. So
there's been a couple crashes with it like that, but not as bad as I thought. I mean,
wouldn't you think you'd see worse than?
Oh yeah, I thought for sure it was just a matter of time, and there's been a couple, but they weren't too bad and tough dudes.
Yeah.
So. Hats off. Let's hope it stays that way.
You also won the X Games step up in Mexico City that year. Another good year for you. 09 X Games LA step up. You won gold again. Then you broke your record in Chicago. You went and did the quarter pipe step up record again, or quarter pipe record again. What was that about?
I just really, I let myself down on that one a little because I thought that I could go a lot higher. Like I was planning on building a 300 two-stroke, and I didn't want to use a four-stroke. I didn't feel like the gyro on it was going to be right. I mean, in retrospect, I probably should have and just practiced it and committed to it. But I just thought I could do like a 300 two-stroke, get the angles a little better, and get another 10 or 15 feet out of it. Make the ramp. I think I went from a 18-foot tall ramp to a 21-foot tall ramp, and I only went like 5 feet farther than I did in Santa Monica. So that was a bummer. I mean, at least I didn't fail completely, but I should have theoretically went like 10 feet higher. So
do you think, again, I hate to keep going back to this, but with these electric bikes, because you don't have all that gyro, you can just kind of put the thing where you want to put it. You think that's going to change this?
I think with enough seat time, you never know. But they do land like a ton of bricks. I mean, I haven't rode the whatever the new one's called, the Start. Everybody's saying great things about it. It sounds like you can control the engine braking and things like that. So maybe
it's all just you just open up the phone on the front and slide it however you want it.
Yeah, that's
it's wild.
Yeah,
horsepower, everything you can adjust it.
I'd never say never. I mean, Sheehan did double backflip on it at X Games this summer. So, sky's the limit. It's not going to be me doing that stuff. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
I'll ride them. I've rode quite a few of them, and I even did a little release of a CF Moto one. Thing felt pretty damn good. But as of right now, I still like having a clutch and some power.
Yeah. I just like the sound.
Yep. I went back to riding a 252 stroke for freestyle, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, having fun with that. Had to get gas on my hands from doing the jets.
Yeah. It's nothing better than that sound, huh?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And that smell, that 927.
Well, we use Motul around here, bud.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. Taken.
Take it easy.
I didn't say what brand. I'm not sponsored by the brand that makes 927. Smells good, though. Tastes good when it hits the lips.
2010 and 2011. Again, nothing. Were you even around? Did you exist those years?
Well, thanks, Bing. Feel really loved.
I couldn't find anything. Blame the internet.
I didn't have any great results those years. I was just focused on free riding. I did my free ride tour with Red Bull. It was kind of like my little stage of if I was giving back, or I don't know if I was selfishly doing. We did some TV around it and everything, but we'd set up a big party in the desert here, Utah. I think we did 4 stops a year. That was really cool.
And just go free riding in different places?
Yeah. And I was commentating for X Games. I didn't want nothing to do with those contests anymore. And damn, what year was it? I think it was around 2010 or 11. I broke out Pastrana from retirement. It might even have been before that. It was called the Red Bull Super Session in Poland. It could have been even 09. I don't remember for sure, but it was they didn't exploit it too much. It was called the Super Session. They had freestyle contest, of course, but then they had a speed and style, whip, and step up. I know quarter pipe contest and step up. And I was a team captain, and they said I can pick whatever riders I want. So Travis owed me a favor or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I called up Pastrana, and then nobody thought for the life of me that I'd get Pastrana to do it. And he showed up and did like speed and style. And then I had quarter pipe and step up on lock, and we ended up winning that. Cool. But that's not really anything that would probably pop up on the interwebs. Byton kicked my ass at step up a couple years in a row. Fueled the fire for 2012 redemption. But yeah, not too much going on there. So whoever was paying me then might have been a little bummed.
2012, you won gold again at Step Up at LA. Same with 2013 and Barcelona Step Up gold, X Games. Those were good years. 2014 and 15 Step Up gold in Austin. So yeah, you were really the man through that little window there. A couple different windows. What do you think of the changes that X Games has gone through?
Yeah, you got to change it up. You know what I mean? You set the bar pretty high when you're in Los Angeles, California, at the Staples Center where the freaking Lakers play. It's like the biggest concert venue and all that. But they switched it up to Austin. I know from what I've learned with the promoting side, you're fighting the weather elements. The more you come East Coast, the more you're rolling the dice, you know. And it definitely lost a little bit of the luster. Like I didn't feel that same crowd, like
vibe,
superstar, rock star vibe or whatever it was when you won, like when I won in Austin. I was personally pumped because I know what goes into it, but it wasn't the same. I don't know what that word is, but it wasn't the same celebration, you know. It wasn't the same vibe. Then they went to Minneapolis. Same thing. You're in it's a big stadium and it's like half full.
Yeah.
It was not the Staples Center.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't the Plaza de Toros in Mexico. And, you know, that stuff fueled the fire. When you knew that you were going to a place like that, you would put in a little more I would personally anyways. I'd put in more preparation and kind of needed that. You know, like they say at freestyle shows, the louder the crowd gets, the dumber we get or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you know, whether you're a musician or whatever, the crowd totally feeds the performer, right?
Yeah, so kind of got weird.
What about the events
too? About Austin, right?
They've pulled some of the good events, and you know, some of them needed to go, but like I feel like they've pulled some cool stuff and replaced it with like,
Don't get me started.
No, that's all right.
I wasn't too keen on the pit bike.
My
my gold medals and step up don't feel as significant when you can win an X Games pit bike medal. It was fun to watch and cool what they're doing. It should have been an exhibition.
Yeah.
But whatever gets the clicks, and
I guess that gets them. One of the best days I ever had on a motorcycle was at Mammoth Mountain on the ski hill on a snow bike.
Okay.
They were introducing, this was like one of the first snow bike kits, right? With the rear track thing that plugs in and the ski in the front. We took one of our TLD 450 race bikes up there, and it's the east side of the mountain, Lincoln Mountain. They just said, have at it.
Oh, no way.
It's shut down to skiers, so it's all yours. Seriously, one of my favorite days I've ever been on a bike. I know you got into snow biking pretty heavy there for a minute.
You totally inspired me.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You know, I just want to keep your career renewing itself. Talk a little bit about what you did with that, because you got pretty hot into it for a minute.
Yeah, it's a funny story. I'm from Florida and lived in Southern California at the time, and I guess I've always been fairly good at like having an eye for like knowing something's gonna take off or be cool. And I was like, I saw that, and I think Andy Bell was the first one I ever seen it do it. He like jumped over a car on a road up in Utah, and I was like, all right, that could be something if they got that thing figured out. And got a hold of Lynn Hodges from Promoto Billet. Ken Fott actually got me connected with him, and he's like, yeah, I think you'd love these things, man. You like all that unique stuff and it's free riding. So we get connected. He picks me up from the airport, takes me to McCall, Idaho, and dude, fell in love with it. I mean, you're backcountry, no pressure, like, right? But my mind's, there is an entrepreneur side of me. I was like, how do we make this a sport or make it bigger? And I was like, well, X Games would be awesome. So I put the word out for X Games, and the only way you're going to do it is like, this is before Real Moto. I think this is like 2013 or 14. It's like, you got to be able to race them. I mean, they do snowcross.
Yeah.
Like, so I think I had a big part in like convincing them to give it a try. And Red Bull knew that, you know, they had funded us a couple like cool productions, if you looked on YouTube, of us doing these backcountry trips. And they're just naturally thinking that like I helped get this racing sport going, like I'm going to be good at it because I did okay at the backcountry stuff. Dude, the guys, Regan Sieg, like Brock Hoyer, these guys from Canada are ridiculous. They know the snow like I know Mountain Dew in Florida, you know what I'm saying? Like they just got it on lock. And the Red Bull guys seemed to think that I was going to like go there and like be a contender when I would have needed to go to like either Canada or what's it, ERX is the place up in Minnesota where there's a practice track like and train all month just to be comfortable. It's a totally different racing them than it is in the backcountry. So my deal kind of like fizzled with it once the pressure came to actually have to perform on it, I was like, dude, that's not my deal. Like, I need to be home with my kids, not living. And I hate being cold, dude.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 days on the mountain snowbiking, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah. Well, and it's a different, as fun as it is, when you try to jump those things, there's no wheel spinning to help you steer. That was my hardest thing, is if I left the ground crooked, you stay crooked. At least I couldn't figure out how to, you turn the wheel, which would normally kind of steer you.
Seat time is the thing.
I guess.
Like, yeah, all it is seat time. The more I did it, the more I knew. Because that track, when you gas it, it takes a while to spool up, but that thing will straighten you up. But you just have to know that it's going to feel wonky for a little bit. But
like a slower reaction back.
Yeah, I had a couple moves where I tried to get in my little flow state and just total out of talent. Like I found this like snowboard kicker that went down a hill, and I'm like, oh, somebody built that. It's just out in the backcountry, and I'm like, sweet. And I just like air wheelied the thing, and I'm like, oh no. I have no idea what to do here. Like, you didn't tap the back brake or anything. It just like air wheelied down the hill and like landed in powder. And you know how like when you jump on a trampoline and you miss the sweet spot? That's also how these airbag landers are now if you overjump or something. It's so weird. But I'm like, oh, here's some snow. And it like, I braced for the first impact, but it was like probably 4 feet deep. And then it hit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
tacoed.
Like ragdolled into the trees. like, oh, this is not as fun as people think it is.
Yeah.
You're covered in snow and cold out there. I love it. You just got to dress for it and like have all the right tricks to the trade. Yeah,
like the elephant ear hand guards and all that crap.
Heated grips. But if you're going to race, if you want to you have to keep the bike light and have it set up for that. So you can't be toting around an extra gas can and warm stuff and whatever. Yeah. So if you want to go shred, you kind of have to be prepared for it. But I wasn't that guy, dude. I pulled the I still have 2 of them. Like I might set up a trip and actually want to do some touring stuff with it, but it's fully back to no pressure just for the fun of it.
Is it Timber Sled or what model?
Timber Sled's the one that I was always with, And they got bought out by Polaris, and I'm not a Polaris guy anymore, so I'll probably be buying my own Timber Sled, I'm guessing. Yikes. But I already got one. I don't need a latest, greatest technology. I think they're all pretty similar.
Something else you were a big part of is the Costa Rica Unlimited. You were like a guest guide for a lot of those.
Yeah.
How'd you get hooked up with that? And
2016, Real Moto. I used to go down to Costa Rica a lot. I mean, I love that place. Used to do freestyle shows at the Supercross races and had a lot of good times. So special place in my heart anyways. I always say it's like my first or second favorite country between Austria and there. All the KTM Red Bull connection. Austria's got a special place. But the cold weather, not so much. I had an idea for I won the gold in 2015 for Real Moto video contest with X Games. Got invited back the next year. Had this idea of sea to sky, riding the snow bike, all these things I was into at the current moment. And I'm like, remember the Fox campaigns called Dream On?
Dream On, oh yeah.
I think Carmichael and Bubba, some of them were down there, and they rode in front of this volcano. Epic looking track, like brown dirt with green everything, volcano in the background. And as soon as I thought of like my format or whatever for what I wanted to do, I'm like, I want to go find that place and ride it.
Was it Arenal? What volcano?
Right, Arenal volcano, yeah. And got a hold of Terry Beal and Chris Kilbride, and Terry is like their main guy in the States here. He lined it up, got me down there. Chris and them freaking just shuttled us around, had a good time. We all hit it off like old buddies. You know how it is in Moto anyways. Like,
well, Chris is like the perfect guy for that job.
Yeah,
he's like the most friendly, likable human.
Totally. Yeah. So yeah, we went all around the damn country, and we're out there barbecuing while doing it. It was a great couple of days, and on the beach, like they're helping me shovel out a rut to drag the handlebars in the corner, and just treating it like a day at the beach. You know what I mean? Like, so next thing you know, like we're lining up free ride tours. Obviously, I wanted more people to experience. I wanted to go on their tours and not just be trying to find jumps out there. So yeah, we did 3 or 4 of them over the years. Pretty cool. Still talk to them all the time.
They're awesome. Yeah. And it's as gnarly as you want it, or it can be mellow. But like the stuff they took us on, some of the rivers we crossed, I was like, I didn't want that an inch deeper.
Yeah, I like that stuff. You know, I'm not an enduro. I'm 5'7", so it's not like I've got the gangle. You're short too. You don't have the stature to be a good hard enduro rider. but we know how to ride, so you kind of can power through stuff. And dude, they get you in the mix there, man. It's like the wetter the better, I say. Like, let's make the most of it, because I hate dust.
Yeah, I agree.
SoCal guys maybe don't like the mud as much.
Well, it's greasy mud.
Oh,
like
yeah.
roots, and I mean, it's a little... I didn't go in the rainy season, and they said, you're probably better off coming now. Hako gets wild, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some stuff going on in that town that can get you 20 anywhere else.
I tell everybody, careful. If you go to Hako, just be careful.
Yeah.
Great surf right there. Is it Black's Beach? What's that beach right there?
I think so, yeah. It's all that black sand.
Yeah.
And there's Hermosa right there, which is down below. I like to stick to that low-key stuff. I don't get into the city stuff. That's asking for trouble. But man, I just love going up into those hills, and you stop and eat at the most random, like, garage carport looking thing, and it's the best meal you've ever had in your life.
No, it's if you've never gone, it's a bucket lister, huh?
I'm actually going back to Costa Rica next week.
Oh yeah?
I don't know when this is going to air, but I don't want to give it away. It's for somebody's birthday.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
I'll be riding the old CF Moto adventure bike all around the country. It's going to be rad.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about, you just mentioned the Real Moto, the 2015 gold that you won. I want to talk about the Renner double out at Ocotillo. I was telling you earlier, I've only been to Ocotillo once. It's just not really my jam. But when I went out there, I rode up to that thing and went, man, you could jump this. Like this, someone could do this. And whoever I was with, oh, Renner already did it. Like it's the Renner double. And I was like, oh. And so I'm eyeballing it and I'm like, man, again, back to like that inner monologue.
Right.
You had to be like in your head. I would have just been afraid of going long.
Yeah, it's really steep landing.
It's really steep landing. You have to be pretty precise, and there's no sizing it up.
No, none.
Zero. It's impossible.
I had to do some like statistics in my head, and that monologue was going full steam for sure. But greased it first time. Like
first time.
Just goes back to what we were talking about. Like once I committed, I did the pre-runs and I shoveled it out the best I could. I know the feel of similar jumps I've done through the years. I didn't sit there and compare each one and break out a calculator, but yeah.
Was it third gear?
Third gear, like not even penned. Penned would get you pins in your back probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe on a 450 you could pin it and maybe second, but why? It wouldn't be a.
Were you on
case.
A 252 stroke?
No, 450.
Oh, 450.
So yeah, just went for it. I knew it was the time. Like I actually I always told people like, man, I know you, same as you said, I know you can do that. And Hagelstein's rode up to it, and all the guys I ride with have claimed they want to.
Well, Hog says that in your video. He goes, a lot of legends have ridden up this thing and went, I bet I could do this. But no one has done it.
So we went to Glamis to get the shots I wanted there. Like I wanted that edit to look like my bike got dropped off long line off a helicopter, something kind of epic feeling. And then I just ravaged the West Coast. And that was pretty much what we did, honestly. Went to Glamis, got a couple shots there. And there's a big jump right in that area that I wanted to do that I knew would look cool.
In Ocotillo?
At Ocotillo. And we came in the backside around there. And I literally drove through you can drive through that jump. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, one of these days when the timing's... Because I always said, I'm going to do it when it makes sense. I wasn't going to do it like at my free ride tour and possibly wad myself.
Yeah.
No money or anything. And I literally I stopped myself from talking. It was just me and Hog and I think Kyle Chandler filming the BTS stuff. I go, let's get somebody out here with the drone. Let's get somebody for safety, because I'm sending this thing today.
Okay, that was another thing I wanted to ask you. So would you bring a medic to some of these places?
Only that.
Just there.
That's the only thing that I've ever... Chris Resnick lived in San Diego or Poway or somewhere over there, where popped up over the hill, and he's a EMT. And
was he an old LA City fireman?
I don't think so. I think he's always been down that way.
Different Resnick. Okay.
He's friends with Tilton and Clowers and them through the years. All the great ride open stuff. Jim McCoy, my boy Heli Jim. Like he actually came out and flew his little DJI drone.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So we had Heli Jim on the scene. They all came out.
How good was that feeling when you get to the arc of that and go, oh, I got it. It's gonna be just right.
Yeah. Can't beat that feeling. You kind of live for that,
I remember that back when I was a kid.
Way better than the alternative feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all been there. Oh no, I'm short. Oh no, I'm long.
Yeah.
Erzberg Rodeo. I told you I was going to ask you about it.
Yeah.
That seems like something I never want to do. Ever. Like, why? No, thank you. I watched the start just going up out of the pit, and I'm like, I'm out.
Do you know Andy Bell very well?
Yeah.
I blame a lot of
It's his fault?
my bad decisions in life on Andy Bell.
That sounds right.
He's very good at coaxing you into
Long hair, too? Was that his idea?
No, he bit my style for sure. No, Andy's been a bit, especially in the early 2000s, like a guy that I got to give a lot of credit to when he was with OGO and everything. Like, we were so opposites, but at the same time, like, just really tight buddies. And, you know, Andy gets along with everybody.
Yeah.
And, like...
He's got... And you two are really in common that way. You guys both just have a lot of positive energy. Like...
No, thanks. Yeah. Andy's just fun, man. Like,
Yeah.
we're there to have a good time first and
Yeah.
foremost, you know, but he also gets serious when he has to and gets the job done. And he has, you know, Andy's just got this shock factor way about him to, like, charm the pants off of anybody at a corporate meeting. He could be talking about dick and fart jokes or something. He'll just have everybody bawling and laughing. So he's been a really cool example to have. But he was kind of my tie with Greg Godfrey and Pastrana with Nitro Circus stuff. And we were like the original kind of crew doing that. And we just travel around, and Andy's like, yeah, you guys, Kurt Nickel got us over there, and like, you got to see this event. It's crazy. And Andy showed me, I don't even remember if they had phone videos back then, but he's like probably showing me his VHS camera or something. Like, I'm like, that looks freaking insane. He's like, oh, dude, it's the biggest party. And they want us to come do a freestyle show. And like, so KTM, Kurt Nickel, got us to come over and do a freestyle demo. And with it, we got a race. So we filmed Nitro Circus.
You knew you were racing, though, when you went?
Yeah, but define racing. I wasn't going there to try to win. It was just like see how far we could make it. And free KTMs to ghost ride down the hills.
But like you just alluded to it earlier. This is one thing about this hard enduro stuff. Like you gotta, it seems like the guys with longer legs that can kind of paddle or plant their feet and pivot the bike.
Definitely helps for sure.
I got none of that. I put my foot down and it's air, and I go ass over tea.
We did the freestyle show. There's no way around it. The beer tents there, you know, in Europe are out of control, and that one's no exception. Probably one of the best. And you end up, I watch the sun come up every year there and then have to go to the starting line. So I've raced it 3 times.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The first year, I just was over there to do freestyle shows the week after or something, and did that freestyle show and then used the same bike, probably changed the suspension or something. And I'm all bragging at KTM the next Monday when we all get back over there to Kurt, like, we're all at dinner or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I just got to the point I just started ghost riding the bike down the hills, and I'd run down the hill and get it because it was just safer. I'm like, it's not my bike, I'm factory, whatever, like being cocky about it. And Kurt's like, hey, Renna, you know that bike that you were bragging about ghost riding? He goes, that's the one you're riding in the freestyle show next week. So I had to spend like 3 days in like a mechanic's room at the factory,
changing parts,
putting the bike back together. So yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, there was years where sun's coming up and the gate drops at like 10 a.m. and it's like, I gotta get back and get a couple hours of sleep, and I'm like paddling through the rocks and getting leg cramps from being dehydrated.
Story of your life. You've been dehydrated.
Made it pretty far. And then I don't think I took it uber serious. I still had a good time, but I was just one year I was like, I'm going to make it to the end. And me and Andy both were determined we were going to make it to the finish. And that year went good.
Did you guys stay together while you were gone?
No. It gets such a shit show. You'd be lucky. There's a great story of me and Andy Bell at the Weston Beach race. I did that once. And when he went and signed us in, somehow the mechanic put had our numbers backwards on the bike. I fouled a plug. They're brand new 252 strokes at a beach race. They jet the crap out of them, like super rich. Fouls a plug. Somebody jumps the gate, so I don't even make it to the gate. I get down to the gate area, and like all I see is a cloud of beach mist or whatever. And so 500 people on the track. Just all for 3 hours, I'm just passing people. Definitely not in the shape to do it as a freestyle guy, but just kept on tracking on. I'm fairly good in the sand. And I'm like, dude, I had to break the top 100 or whatever, right? I passed Andy like twice, so I know I beat him. We get done, we're annihilated. Freaking A, dude. score sheet comes in, Andy Bell 31st and Ronnie Renner 60th.
What
the hell's going on here, man? Yo. So I'm like, this ain't freaking right. Come to find out, he had my stickers on his bike, like his numbers or our numbers.
Oh, you were switched numbers.
So I got 31st. He got 60th. If you ask Andy, still to this day, nope, Renner, I kicked your ass.
31st from 300.
I got you, Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It was motoring for sure. Dude, you're in these queues to like get your checkpoint, and there's like people on the most beater bikes, like KX500s with like such rich jetting with gas station oil, and you're just about to pass out in the freaking like,
fumes.
Like, let me through here, man. There's people down everywhere. It's like war. It's like Normandy, but
yeah, it doesn't.
For bike
They don't
riders.
look. I don't know if that looks fun to me.
No, I thought it was for a while until that night. I was getting leg cramps like crazy and trying to go check out London and like walking around and cramping up. It was a trip. But yeah, we did Ayresburg. The last year was when McGrath came and him and Pastrana got like their bets going. It's all on like documented on Nitro Circus stuff. And we were back in Superstar mode at that point, so there was no way. I think I made it to the first checkpoint at that one, and my bike, like, I got impatient with a group of riders and tried to like traverse a rock hill, and my bike ended up down in the woods.
Oh, jeez.
I just had to leave it and walk back to the pits.
Well,
good
will
times.
You do that Ayresburg again?
I actually want to go back next year. I want to talk some of the gang into going back. I don't know if I'd try to race it or not. I want to just do a freestyle show at it and check it out.
What's the one they're doing? And maybe Travis is involved with this down in like, is it in Puerto Rico? It's some wild like,
yeah, like a hard enduro-ish kind of thing.
You haven't done that one? Okay. It looks fun other than like, again, no thank you. It's just too gnarly.
Yeah, kind of once the Nitro Circus thing started going the like Jackass route, and they were like semi-produced by some of that stuff, it wasn't really for me. I just wanted to stick with just moto stuff. Yeah. And I remember Pastrana told me one time I'm just one-dimensional or something like that, and that always rubbed me the wrong way. Like, so I got good at driving. I don't know if it was because of that, but I tried to get good at side-by-sides and off-road stuff, and I don't know, it always sticks in my head like, hey man, I can do other things. I just like riding motorcycles the best.
Yeah, that's what I like. Are you still competing? Any like what events are you doing these days? Like, kind of what are you keeping yourself busy with?
Well, racing here and there, moto. I mean, just did the Loretta's thing. I don't know if I burned myself out a little bit. I think I took a little too long of a break because now I feel like a squirrel on my bike. But you know, I got the CF Moto deal, and they've got a badass line of street bikes and adventure bike and side by sides. So I've really been dabbling with like actually enjoying more street riding. Like now that my girlfriend's here in Temecula Valley, I'm going up and doing these loops to Idlewild and I guess older people things, kind of
stuff. Do they have a dual sport?
No, they have an adventure bike. It's the closest thing. It's more of like 500-pound touring bike, so it's pretty big. But I just went up to like Jawbone Canyon and crashed it a few times, trying stuff that I shouldn't be doing. Riding, the street stuff. It's just hard with social media and everything to bridge the gap of making it seem exciting, unless you're like a Rough Rider wheelie boy or what's it called now, Bike Life.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to a track day. They got a badass little 450, like Moto 3 equivalent. It's something I never got into, and everybody tells me I'd love track days. So Alpine Stars is going to get me some leathers and probably...
When are you going to do that? We'll come out with you.
I don't know. Next year, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Like early, I'm hoping. I forget the name of the school that it is. I think it is actually backed by Yamaha, but fingers crossed to let me bring my bike and work a little, try to be special.
A little special ed kid.
Yeah.
What about the side-by-sides? You've done a lot of that lately you're talking about.
Yeah, I signed a deal with it, tied into my free riding stuff with Polaris back in 2014, and since COVID, that kind of like kept going on a downward slope. I think maybe Florida was a little career suicide with some of that stuff. I'm not riding Ocotillo and Beaumont, or not Beaumont, but Glamis.
Yeah, but
and
it's you
Baja.
guys have unique looking stuff back there, huh?
Yeah, but it's trail riding and mud bogging and rock climbing, and not really my thing. I'm just more of a track guy. Like my philosophy is moto everything. If I'm in a side by side, I'm trying to drop and jump the thing. And I'll jump every jump on my dirt bike track in a side-by-side. And people think it's nuts. And it looks pretty cool on camera once you start sending those things so big. So, yeah, just doing that. Do some stuff with Red Bull, some VIP stuff where they send their restaurant owners and, big money spender, bar owners, restaurant owners, whatever. Show them a good time. Sometimes some of their VIP athletes throw them in the passenger seat. It's like basically like a gnarly roller coaster, really, when you think about it. And then teach them to drive a little. So it's a cool one-day experience. Enjoy that.
You got property down there in Florida?
Yeah, I got 10 acres.
Okay.
That was really my only career dream, not knowing what each year was going to throw at me, was to own my own property with a track. And knew that I was going to go back to Florida eventually, be closer to my family. And my ex-wife's family is in Orlando area with our 2 little ones. So.
Oh, I thought they were out here.
No.
Oh.
No. I have my 20-year-old son is in Long Beach, California.
Oh, okay.
My oldest son's 24, which really ages me. He's in Bentonville, Arkansas, a trail builder for the mountain biking community there, which is awesome. And then I got a 13-year-old little girl who's going to be 14 next week, and I'm, got some grays sprouting out. I'm sure that's just going to be a full gray bush soon.
Just wait, dude.
An 11-year-old little dude, and they both ride and drive, and yeah, love it, but no pressure on them. I don't think either of them have ambition to be pro.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's cool to ride with them, though, and, like, share the stuff you love,
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
There's so many life lessons in moto. It's grit, all that stuff. And, my little girl is going to be permit in a year. She's going to be a hellion behind the wheel. She just flipped her razor a couple weeks ago, like totally tomahawked it, trying to jump and chop the throttle too much. And
oh, no.
Hey, get me going. Like, it's broke. You
Flip
can't go.
me over.
Yeah. Yeah. Life's good.
That's great. What do you see yourself doing down the road? What, you got any long-term plans? Anything you want to do in or out of the sport? Or
I didn't want to cry on this podcast, but I think it might happen here because I have no idea what I'm doing next. Million ideas, I would say options, but it's like when you get paid to play for so long and you get the freedom attached to that, man, it is hard to think about punching a clock for anyone. But I definitely didn't make enough money to fully retire, so I got to figure out something. Training riders, love doing it, but I don't want to do it half-ass. So keep living the dream for now. I'm really hopeful of all the companies I've worked with recently that maybe there's something for me here at CF Moto. It's globally, it's a big corporate company, but CF Moto USA is fairly fresh and reminds me of my old days at KTM, reminds me of the old days with really all my sponsors that are now were my sponsors that are now super corporate. They got sick products coming out, so that's, fingers crossed, something I can evolve with them and grow with them. And if I'm not out shredding and stuff, I'm helping R&D and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's kind of the short term.
Where are they based out of?
Sounds like fun. Minneapolis. Yeah. That's the one negative. It's
You're
cold.
going to be in the cold.
I don't want to be cold, all right? So hopefully with my property, I can get a little like R&D facility going with them at my house.
Yeah, that's funny. And what about the family? So you see your kids much? Your older boys? Do you get up to like Arkansas or out here? I guess you're out here quite a good bit.
He's on my butt right now pretty bad about, it's such a fine window of weather there. I was going to go see him 2 weeks ago and the weather was a high of 50 and nights and like mornings of 25 degrees. I'm like, I'm not going mountain bike riding. If I'm going there, I'm going to go mountain bike riding. I'm not just going to come sit on your couch while you're working all day. So
all summer it's hot and humid. That's your weather.
Yeah, but I was doing Loretta's and like it was kind of hard to get the timing right. So I'm overdue to go see him.
Do I need to get you like a Whiskey Throttle show beanie and a sweatshirt? What?
Probably
keep you a little warmer.
Yeah. I like freebies.
Warm and dehydrated.
It's like 25 over or whatever. What's the deal on those things for doing?
I'll give you 10% off.
All right.
Of course, they're price. We raised them 30%. So
Joe Biden's America. The inflation's popping. That's right. So yeah, my little ones, I have them every weekend, and I come here on a Sunday night or Monday, and I leave every Thursday night or Friday, and make sure I have the weekend with my kids, and
cool.
Have a good time. I got 10 acres with the track, and all the toys I have, I make sure they got them. We could do a whole other podcast on parenting probably and like what the right things to do with that are, because my kids don't exactly beg me to go out in the yard and ride and drive or do things. I'm still the big kid, like, let's go. Come on. Put the freaking YouTube away. Like, I had to unplug my internet the other day and just be like, I don't know what's up. Must be down.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's actually smart.
That's bad, yeah. Like,
why haven't I thought of that? I just go turn my modem off. They don't know how to fix it.
Yeah. It took my little guy 3 hours to figure it out. He tracked it down.
He did wind it up.
He was missing
Okay,
Netflix
so Dad, I
that
called
bad.
the website, the Wi-Fi company.
He was missing Netflix or YouTube that bad that he's like, Dad, it's unplugged. And I'm like, oh, dude, I think when I was unplugging my alarm clock on my phone earlier, it knocked off the counter and must have popped on. Like, little white lies are okay with your kids, all right?
Well, if it's for the right reason.
Yeah, and like my kids are going to have patience. What are we, a few hours in on this podcast? They're never going to make it this far.
No, they're not. They're not so good.
So, yeah.
Well, listen, man, we have one question we ask everybody at the end here, and that's how you want to be remembered in the sport.
Oh, man, I don't know if I've ever been asked that or really thought too much about it. The easy answer is just to be known as obviously a good human and somebody that had a good time riding his bike. But, as far as a riding legacy, somebody that was probably smooth, I guess, and well-rounded on a bike. I don't know if I was ever the best in the world. No Axel Hodges, but known that I could hold my own and loved riding in general. So
yeah. Well, I can tell you my thoughts on you, man. Like, obviously you're crazy talented on a bike, 10 gold medals at X Games and all of the cool stuff you've done. But kind of what I talked about earlier, you just always exude like this happiness and positive energy. And maybe it's a show. I don't know.
Facade. I'm going to go cry in the parking lot.
But either way, I'm always stoked to see you, man. Like, you always put a smile on my face.
Right back at you, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's always a goal. I don't want to have any enemies, really. I mean, me and Brian Deegan used to butt heads, but now when we see each other, we just laugh. We both had to kind of stay in our lanes, and very few people I can say are people that I don't like to be around in the sport, and I hope that comes right back at me, Yeah. But
well,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the time to come in,
Thanks,
buddy.
you.
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, keep it up.
Let's go mountain biking.
I'm down.
All right.
Right now?
E-bikes. Not right now.
Let's go.
Soon, though.
Kyle, handle the rest. We're out of here.
Hey, guys, that was Ronnie Renner. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around. We're going to be back to wrap up the show.
I want to be bad with you, girl, like we're robbing a bank. I want to be mad at the world like it took you away. Don't want to be mad at myself for my stupid mistakes.
All right, that is our show. I want to thank Ronnie Renner for taking the time to come out while he's out here in Southern California. I know it's a long day sitting through this, but what a great show. What a great dude. If you know Ronnie, just always smiling and laughing and cutting up, and great dude. Stoked to get him on and have him tell his story. 10 gold medals at X Games. That's pretty gnarly. Puts him in some pretty rare company. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, the people that keep this show coming to you. Folks, like I said, we are very, very picky about who we partner with. And that is to just keep absolutely elite level companies so that it's easy for us to promote them. I don't have to tell you that Yamaha and Hilo Concepts, Dunlop, Seat Concepts, Specialized Bicycles, Pro X, Stasic, SKDA, Pro Circuit, and the rest. These are just premium brands that do not turn out garbage products. So it makes it very easy for us to say, hey, if you're in the market for any of this stuff, check these guys out, start with them. Amazing products, amazing companies, and they help bring this thing to you because we couldn't do it without them. So check those guys out. Thank you guys for always supporting what we do, and we've got great shows coming up. Our new studio is close. We're about a month away from that thing being finished. Should be at the start of 2024, and that's going to be so nice. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great Thanksgiving if we don't see you before then. And we got more shows coming, so stick around. We'll see you then. The Whiskey Throttle Show is brought to you by Yamaha. Join the Blue Crew today and take advantage of all that Yamaha has to offer, including amateur racing trackside support, awesome Yamaha contingency, Jason Rain's demos and instructional classes, and frankly, the most high-performing motorcycles available on the market today. Whether you're looking for a 4-stroke, a 2-stroke, a side-by-side, a quad, a boat, a generator, Yamaha prides themselves on absolute top-level quality and reliability. Rev your heart with Yamaha and join the Blue Crew today. Method Race Wheels, bringing you the lightest, strongest, fastest wheels in off-road for your truck, van, sprinter, UTV, or SUV. They've been dominating the Baja 500 and 1000 and every major off-road event around the world for years with high quality and performance. They also look amazing. They come in a bunch of different styles and colors for your rig, so check them out. You can get 20% off a set of wheels using our code Whiskey Throttle. No capitals, no spaces. 20% off using our code. Check them out. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear. They've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. SKDA is a moto graphics and seat covers company with several offices based around the globe. For too long, bikes and graphics have all looked the same. They just start to blend together. SKDA is working to change that. With super clean and unique design work, a bike with SKDA graphics stands out in a crowd and adds a touch of art to the world of moto. Hey, we need that. SKDA prides itself on providing premium customer service both before and after the sale is made. Visit SKDA online to view the current product range and get in touch with their team to get your bike refreshed. I want to just make a mention here that these guys, not only is their design way outside the box, very, very cool. They'll work with you on custom things. The products are incredible. Okay, they'll speak for themselves. But what's really awesome, and you'll notice this the minute you order one of these, man, they give you an email saying, hey, the product's been shipped. Hey, the product is here. It landed in this spot. Hey, it's coming today. Hey, your product's been delivered. They just so good about staying in touch with you and letting you know where it's at. Customer service is 100%, and that's just something that's rare these days. Check out SKDA. Here at the Whiskey Throttle Show, we're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX53 line and MX33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number one plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. Nihilo Concepts is leading the way in aftermarket hard parts. With their secondary on-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport, they've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the... If you've got a little Grom that's looking to get started in the motorcycle world, the best way to get them going is on a Stasic bike. They've got multiple sizes, so from your very young Groms to those who are a little more grown up, you can start them safely. They've got controls that allow you to control the speed so he can't get going too quick. They can touch the ground. There's not a lot of noise to distract them. It's the perfect way to get your child involved in motorcycling at a very young age. And if you've got a kid who's already out ripping, there's series popping up all over. For those of you in Southern California, go to www.ameminicross.com and join their local series. If you're outside of this state, contact your local track and ask them about starting a Stasic class at your local track. Get over to Stasic.com and check out all they've got going on. Motul USA, we lean hard on these lubricants to keep us on the track and on the trail. And Motul has proven their quality over and over, most recently with their Dakar win with Ricky Brabeck. They're sponsoring Supercross teams. They're diving into our sport again full throttle, and we're stoked to have them on board. Amazing products, top to bottom. Motul USA, go check them out. And finally, last but not least, Specialized Bicycles. If you are in the market to start pedaling, this is where you want to start. They've got great entry-level bikes all the way up to the Cadillac, the new Levo e-bike, anything in between, man. It doesn't matter what kind of riding you're doing. Go check out and start with Specialized. Don't waste your time on something that's going to break. The derailler's not going to shift after a couple months. Get something quality. These guys make it. Specialized leads that industry.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Whiskey Throttle Show. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified when new shows go up. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And visit whiskeythrottlemedia.com for additional content.